What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
I missed you guys last week.
We missed you too. The best friends are all reunited. Exciting over here. The Hispanic heartthrob, Andy Cortez.
Hey, guys.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man.
Did you enjoy that pre-show?
I did, yeah.
Patreon.com/kindoffunny.
We recapped Kevin falling from the prior pre-show.
Yeah. I need to see the video.
Huh?
I said, guess how much that fun that was.
And then there's a lot of screaming from Kevin that we're all racists. Over there, Forbes 30 under 30, a.k.a. the second best baby blues in San Francisco, a.k.a. Hey, that's a nice jacket at Tim Gettys.
Let Tim host. There you go, baby.
How excited were you when you figured out the jacket? You were gonna get that jacket from Cyberpunk, right?
I'm never letting this die. Are you kidding me? Like Greg told me, he's like, oh yeah, you have your Cyberpunk demo tomorrow. They give you a bomber jacket. It's reversible. My first thought, I was like, that sounds cool, but it's not gonna be cool. Then I'm like, send me pictures. And he sends me, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, super excited. You didn't sleep all that night.
And then I
did
put
you?
it on. And I'm like, this might be like, Andy, touch it.
Oh, wow.
Holy
this
shit.
isn't cheap.
This
does
some
not feel like
nice
a...
ass shit.
That's that Witcher
and it
3
doesn't
money.
have that weird flap that I don't like that most bomber
This
jackets
isn't a
do.
$15 Amazon
dude.
jacket. Yeah,
It's
it's
fucking nice.
I miscalculated because I got played on Slack, as they say, where I put on the Slack, who wants the link keychain? All you guys saw it, ever seen it, we've seen it, it's all blah blah. And I was like, oh, well then.
Now you know how it feels.
I never
Now
seen
you
it.
know how
Everyone's
it
like,
feels.
well, you were late to the conversation.
Yeah,
but everybody else was like,
yeah,
oh,
I had been tweeting
don't
about it
care,
prior to
blah, blah,
that.
blah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then my confidence level in knowing what was hip and hot coming out of E3, what was the breaking news coming out of E3 was shattered. So when I didn't even bother bringing my bomber jacket to the Gamescast recording to
I have to
Tim.
interrupt this. We have a call from Cool Greg.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, right, you told
Hello,
me.
Cool Greg. This is Andy.
what's
You're
the
on the
bail set
podcast.
at?
What's up?
Jesus.
Hey, what's happening, bro? I'm at 7-Eleven looking for these energy drinks, but there's hell, I don't know what you want. There's one called Bang, which is pretty cool.
You got...
God damn it, bang!
You got Bang. What flavor? What flavor are we talking about, Cool Greg?
Blue Raz.
For Bang, they got Rainbow
many people are
Unicorn,
doing this?
Sour
Do you want a
Head,
drink or
Cotton
something?
Candy, Blue Raz.
Blue Raz.
Off.
I want me one of them Blue Razes, Cool Greg.
Cool, Greg, give me a blue ras too. I want to try it. I've heard a lot about Bang.
Okay, so 2 Blue Razes.
Yeah.
Can you get me a Red Bull?
Okay, and the Red Bull.
What's
Yeah.
the rib situation?
All
What's the ribs
Thanks, Cool
situation?
Greg.
Rips. No,
What's
what
a
do you
rip?
mean?
So wait, one Red Bull and 2.
One Red Bull and 2 Bang Cool Razes.
A packet
Blue
of rips.
Raz.
Kevin's saying a pack of rips? What the fuck is
Grits?
Packet of rips. R-I-P-S.
I still don't know what
It
it
is
is.
so fucking much.
It's a sour strap candy.
You talking about the candy?
that? Yeah,
Yeah.
the candy. Yeah,
Now Joey's here with a question, Cool Greg. Hold on.
Hey, Cool Greg, can you get some of those pear Red Bulls?
Which one?
Do they have pear sugar-free Red Bull? It's in a
It's a
green
green
Red Bull
can.
Here. They have, yeah, Chris Fair, yeah, they have one.
All right.
Thank you.
Joey wants one.
Okay, so I'll grab it.
All right, thanks,
Kevin,
Cool
you can
Greg.
go ahead and throw that up there. Show everybody what a rip is, which looks like this would be one of those things where you could try to convince me we're in a video game, and I'd be like, "Fuck, we are NPCs in a video game." Like a rip candy, innovative licorice. What the
It's because
fuck
it
are you
rips
talking
your
about?
mouth up.
Yeah,
Tell
Kevin.
Yes, it's really good.
At first, I heard ribs.
Yeah, me too.
And
I thought he was making a
wanted-
joke.
some ribs.
You want ribs from 7-Eleven, and then I heard Ritz, like crackers, and
And then he said a pack of grits and cigarettes. You know what I mean? I was like, all right.
And then I heard a pack of rips, and I thought a pack of rips was like a rolling paper or
Ribbed condom.
Yeah.
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 So much.
We got there in the end, though. We figured it all out.
We got there.
So I totally misplayed it because I didn't bring the jacket to the Gamescast at all because I assumed Tim already knew about it. So then when I said it and his eyes lit up, I was like, oh, fuck.
I was so stoked. I had
it up.
no idea. I
Yeah.
love it, man. I love it so much.
It looks
you're
very,
saying-
very high quality. A buddy of mine was on Twitter like, damn, am I really about to throw down $400 for this shirt? I was like, no, they're gonna put it on their store. Like they announced that they're gonna put it.
Did they?
Yeah. They were like, do not buy these jackets. They're on sale on eBay for like $400. Don't do it. We're gonna put it on both our EU store and the upcoming US store.
Hell yeah, man. I need to find out who made them because I want this for kind of funny. I want blue
Ooh.
on the inside.
Yeah, that'd be super tight.
It'd be so cool.
Yeah.
What's on the outside?
Now, you like the jacket? How much of the game are you gonna play?
Hella. Oh yeah, dude. I'm all
You think
in.
you're in for Cyberpunk?
I am so in for Cyberpunk.
Wow.
No question, man. They sold me. This thing looks amazing.
Yeah, I had dreams about it.
Well, sure, you're in. I understood that. Tim,
I'm in-
and I'm not like doing the joking install. It just doesn't. RPGs usually open world RPGs usually
Definitely
aren't
not.
things.
This one, they're checking every box, man. This game is going to be such a major hit just across the board, and I think it's because it's like cool. We have the guys that made The Witcher 3, which is critically acclaimed and loved, but we're going to make it mainstream and accessible and interesting to everyone else that looks at that and is like, nah, I want no part
That's
of that.
nerd shit, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm fucking in, dude. I can't wait.
Well, didn't the
so much
Witcher
so you
sold
get
well
to
too, right?
choose the type of
20 million.
person that you are going in, right? There's the 3 different like backstories
Sure,
that you
yeah,
get to
street
choose.
kid.
One of them was the nomad, one of them's the street kid, and one of them
like Commander
is the corporatist, is what they call it. And I look at that shit and I was like, we were talking about this on the Easy Ally show. I'm like, I'm going corporate, baby. I'm selling out instantly. This is gonna be fucking awesome. But then they announced
Shocker,
they announced the
why I like him.
descriptions of
right.
of what each one of these are. And the corporatist, it was like substance over style. And I was like, that sounds suspiciously like function over fashion. And I was like, I'm going street kid. They lost me with that shit. Get the fuck out
Oh
of
yeah,
here.
because they announced all the fashions recently. Like
Yeah.
they showed like the style and substance is one of them, and then like substance over style is like very militarized.
Yep. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that at all.
That's not who you are.
Yeah, so
you
they
don't want
lost
that
me.
life.
But their clothes look cool.
Back to being a street kid.
Style over substance, Nick. The girl's wearing a jacket, and it looks very much like a '90s, like where we wore jackets that were like 18 colors each, like very like
love
windbreaker, like super pink, and the pockets like yellow,
take
and
it.
the inside, yeah.
Well, I mean, even from that cutscene that they show where he's wearing kind of a bomber jacket, but it's got that collar that's lit.
Yeah, that neon collar.
Looks fucking rad. The style is cool. I'm with Tim on this one. Like, I know this is not. If you put all of these on paper, it might not be a game that I should be playing, but I'm going to play the shit out of it. It's gonna be real fun.
They had the guy there in the booth, along with a woman
Janet?
as well. No, I wish, but doing the cosplay there with the jacket with the
Yeah.
neon thing or whatever, and it was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I forgot, but CD Projekt Red did not forget that last year for some reason that guy pinched my nipple in a photo.
Oh, cool.
And it was at the behest of my friend who works at CD Projekt Red in
Sure.
the PR. I forget how we got there, but whatever. And I remember last year how awkward it was, him explaining to the cosplayer, like, oh, it'd be funny if you do this. And the guy's like, all right, whatever, you know what I mean? Did it for the photo. And then this year, when they reminded me and him about it and wanted to do the photo again, it was still very awkward explaining because that guy did not remember that.
No,
Did not remember that
what
being done
was
right.
the impetus of that?
I don't remember. I don't
Why?
remember
Because
why
that's not
that-
your thing.
He has cyber
no.
nips.
We were hammered, you know.
Yeah, we were wasted.
This year it was
2018,
actually a bar. It was a Cyberpunk
really?
bar when
That's
you're waiting
cool.
in the queue to play.
Didn't they have beer last time or no?
Not that I
don't
remember.
remember them
Maybe they
having-
did.
no.
I didn't have any because I was at work. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just a heads up. I saw
Whoa.
Per Schneider having a beer. Just putting it out there.
Wow.
David
Alcoholic.
Hatfield's having a beer. I expect no less from him. He's
Exactly.
cool. He's allowed to do that. Pear running a
Pear hasn't
company.
worked an honest day 10 years. In 10
Exactly.
years.
I know. He's just like sitting. He's like Vigo on the throne of skulls.
Yeah,
you
that's
know what
it.
I mean?
It's
Like, that's what it's about.
watching the pink stuff come between his legs. The river.
I do. I understood that reference, but it took me a second.
It's like,
Watching
what
the pink
the
stuff
fuck
come
are you
between
talking
his
about?
legs. If you didn't know, this is the Kind of Funny podcast. Each and every week, four best friends gather around this table, come to talk to you about what's going on in their lives. If you like that, hey, why not support us on patreon.com/kindafunny? You can get a whole bunch of perks and goodies. You can be part of the show. You can get the show early. You can get it ad free. You can get it with a pre and post show tacked on. Usually where we make fun of Kevin and he gets close to quitting.
The pink river of slime from Ghostbusters 2.
Got it.
Yeah, the
Got
pink
it,
stuff
got
between
it,
his
got it.
legs. Duh. You didn't understand that reference from Vigo 2 seconds ago? Idiots. If you got no bucks to toss our way, no big deal. The show posts each and every Friday as a video and MP3. Check it out on youtube.com/Kinda Funny. Housekeeping for you. We Have Cool Friends is up right now on youtube.com/Kinda Funny. Brand new show. Episode 2 is up right now. Anthony Rapp. And worth pointing out at youtube.com/Kinda Funny Games. You can get the Games Cast crossover with Easy Allies.
Also, you can watch the Kind of Funny Game Showcase. That
You
if you
can.
haven't watched, you should check out. If you only watched once, you should watch it again. Suspiciously close to 100,000 views, and that'd be very nice to hit.
That's
Yeah,
so
of
cool.
course.
Congrats on that, by the way, guys.
Thanks, guys.
That's
That's
huge.
huge. That's
Thank you to our Patreon producers, George Lopez, Mark Stavar. George Lopez cracks me every time
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
George Lopez.
It'd be
You know what I mean?
amazing.
The low ride. George Lopez show?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I knew he had a show, but I didn't know the theme
you
song
kidding
to
me?
it.
What?
I didn't watch
What
the
a
George
show.
Lopez
One of the
show.
What a show.
one of the best memes ever is like some guy posted on Twitter and he was like, you wake up at 3:40 in the morning, you're hot and sweaty, and this is playing on the TV, and it's the George Lopez intro with Lowrider playing because that's
Sure.
the intro, and it just brought back so many memories of like staying up late playing World of Warcraft, and then like
You're stuck with this shit.
George Lopez is on like at 4 in the
Is the
morning.
show any good?
The show's pretty decent. Yeah,
He
Kind
his
of like
comedy's
Everyone Loves
usually pretty
Raymond, but
Sitcom, yeah.
yeah, it's pretty
good.
good.
So it was another show. It was on for like 9 seasons. Nobody
Yeah.
knew it existed.
yeah. I
No.
met him at E3.
You
George
met him at
Lopez.
E3.
Shut up.
This
What was he doing?
My
E3?
first E3.
Wait, George Lopez who's supporting us or George Lopez the comedian?
No, the comedian.
Again, are they one and the same? We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
What was he like? What was he doing at E3?
Probably taking his
Not
kids
playing
there, I
games.
imagine.
Yeah, no, it was like there was kids involved, and there was some sponsored thing that he did not want to be doing.
Sure, okay.
Oh, I think it was Def Jam rap star.
God.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That is definitely a George
Yeah,
Lopez
it
game.
was
if I
him, and
heard
it was Method Man and Redman together.
There was a moment in history where Redman and Method Man were just everywhere.
Yeah.
God
I
bless
mean,
him.
hey,
They were
what a
like they were
moment.
Kevin Hart back
They had a
then.
movie.
Like they were in all
They,
the movies.
they unified to
Yeah.
be Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
It's true.
So anyways, George Lopez, Mark Stavagi,
Starvagi.
Starvagi is how we say it. Kieran O'Donnell, DJ Kento, and Sam Davis. Today we're brought to you by Upstart and Green Chef, but we'll talk about that later. Nick, Andy,
Yes, sir.
congratulations. You didn't burn down the place while we were gone.
No, we held it together. Only screwed up a couple things.
Yeah.
And it worked out. Worked out okay.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean honestly, it was a weird week last week. Because coming in, I came in fresh on like Tuesday,
Yeah.
thinking I got a lot of energy for this week. I'm gonna make sure we get all the shows done, and I did a fucking great job. By the end of the week, I was like, I am tired. This was a long one. This one worked out, but then we saw you guys fucking raging hard every night and going real hard on the show floor. And I was like, Andy, we got to dig deep to make fun of Joey during this Let's Play. We got to
Yeah.
make this worth it.
It was worth it.
It was worth it.
It
It was great. I had a show at Cobb's on Wednesday night, which went well.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah.
What is going on? Is Cobb's not or Punchline not closing anymore? I heard. Is that what I saw?
So what's happened with Punchline is they've now zoned the space as it's not that they're leaving. It's that from what I understand, they have a designation that means whatever they put in that space has to be designated for entertainment. So that's kind of a workaround of saying, hey, Google, you can rent the space out, but you have to use it as an entertainment venue.
Okay.
And so to them, they're like, well, that's dumb. Why don't we just keep Punchline there? So that's what they're fucking with right now. It's kind of what's going on with that. And
Gotcha.
they're still doing city council meetings and trying to figure out. But I don't think they've got it historical status. I think it's just a matter of they're trying to get it every protection they possibly can. So they're thinking it might actually stick around.
Is it like in the episode of I think Tim will be the only one who recognizes this, maybe Kevin. Episode of Hey Arnold where they're trying to knock down the tree. This very like sort of important tree to this city, and then people end up like this old lady, kind of like hippie lady, ends up sleeping in the tree
Sure.
to like prevent
They
them
kill
from
her.
knocking it down. Yeah, they murder her.
That was the one of
killing her
the
sleep.
special 3D episodes that if you went to
Wow.
Blockbuster, they would give you 3D glasses.
Oh, I'm
and
sure
at
that was an
certain-
experience.
And at certain points in the show, things would be 3D with
Wow.
It was
wasn't
crazy.
great.
It was.
Can you imagine that shit happening anymore?
No.
Because I remember when Revenge of the Nerds, not 1 or 2 or any of that, like the made-for-TV Revenge of the Nerds was on Fox, and you had to go get 3D glasses, and then there's also like a scratch and sniff thing you get from 7-Eleven.
What did it smell like?
I don't remember. Fucking, it was the Nerds, so I'm sure fucking pussy, and then
It
like
smelled like,
Nerds.
it smelled like cream pie and pussy.
Oh my God, Nick!
That's another
How do
great,
you do it every time?
that's another great movie reference
says-
if you understand the movie. If
He
not,
says these things and then looks around shocked, like, I can't believe I said it.
even I can't believe I said it.
He said it 5 seconds before me.
I just said pussy. Everybody's like, that makes sense. Scratch the new pussy smell. You said cream pie and pussy. That's when everybody flipped out. Not understanding. In the original Revenge of the Nerds, one of the ways, Tim, they made their money during the Greek week thing was selling pies that were just whipped cream, but then at the bottom was a naked photo they took against a woman's will.
Yeah.
This
It was
is, I mean,
totally
you think,
terrible.
man, that's terrible, but they also raped that woman. So there was a lot of things.
lot of horrible
A lot of
things.
bad, a lot of things that
Movies.
Revenge of the Nerds don't hold up today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She fall in love with the guy.
She does. She marries him and they have a great
And
life.
in the Revenge of the Nerds made-for-TV movie with the scratch and sniff stuff and the 3D goggles, she was in the back of a truck because she was pregnant with that nerd's baby, and everything was fine.
Wow.
Protective
Had a good
dog.
life.
Exact. God, you know a lot about this made-for-TV Revenge of the Nerds thing, Kev. I love it.
Theirs is great.
Woo!
So Cobb's, your show, it was good.
It was good. It was pretty good. Yeah,
Gia went, Joey went.
we had a great time.
One of Gia's
I finally met
friends,
Gia's
Joel.
friend
Darlene.
Darlene. Yeah, she was good. She had the set of the night.
That's what I heard.
which is great.
She performed?
Yeah. No, not Gia. Darlene. Gia's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even then, I thought you were talking about Gia's friend. I assume Gia's friend is in the audience with.
Yeah, it was
Gia
very
and Joey.
weird. I introduced myself to her in the green room, and I was like, "I'm friends with Gia," and she goes, "Who?" And I went, Gia Harris? And she goes, oh, yeah, of course. She was like, I
mean, it's very random.
what happened was she was like, she was like, I only know one Gia, and there's no fucking way you know her.
Yeah.
So she was totally confused.
Yeah.
But I thought that Gia had set this up, like she was texting her beforehand, hey, you're on a show with my friend Nick, make sure you say hello, because she was doing that to me. Turns out it was very one-sided, and I came at Darlene with the wrong energy. I was
Why
like,
am I not
hey! And she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then, and by the end, it was
That's
totally
funny.
great. And we had a good time. Yeah, we were worried that it was one of the smaller promotions, so everyone was worried that it was not going to be that many people that showed up. But we had about 100 people, which in Cobb's is a pretty decent audience, and it was a fun night. Thank you to everyone who showed up. I guilted Joey to show up with a lot of FOMO. Said it's going to be great. You're going to miss out. And I didn't know this about Joey, but she gets real bad FOMO. So that was cool. That worked.
So that was cool.
Nailed it.
I had a lot of stuff going on, Nick. Sorry about that, man.
Yeah, Andy didn't come
lot
out.
of
Stream some games.
A lot of
Playing
stuff.
Some games, stream some games.
What'd you do Wednesday
Meetings,
night?
just business
Oh,
meetings.
business
Yeah.
meetings. Wow.
Wow.
Funhouse calls.
Got meetings with
Big stuff.
Bruce and
Bigger than that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nicholas, why don't I ever get credit for going to these things? Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. Kevin came out.
fine,
Kevin
it's
filmed my
fine,
set
it's
as
fine.
well, which is very nice of him.
Great.
Kevin
you
is
want that?
literally my biggest support. I'm sorry, I was getting around to who came out, and then I got sidetracked
No,
with
it's fine, it's
the
fine.
Gia.
I was the one that
setting me
named
up.
who came out.
What's
I know,
that?
both of you
I didn't know
fucked
you
me, is
went.
what I'm saying.
I don't know you went.
No, I
I
Still
would
mad
have
about
named
that
you if I
pre-show.
did, but
He's still mad about the pre-show.
He's a prickly customer right now.
yeah, one of Gia's friends came out. Kevin came out. Cool Greg wasn't there? Yeah, Cool Greg was there, right? Wasn't
No,
he?
Cool Greg wasn't
No,
there.
he wasn't there.
But we had Cheeks there too.
We did have
Cheeks
Cheeks there.
Jr.
And I left. As I left, I looked over, and there was a few best friends that had come as well. And Kevin was holding court with these people, just entertaining them as he and Cheeks were just leaning up against a wall, smoking cigarettes, and I was like, fucking hey, man, what's it like being young? It's just late. You ain't got shit to do. You're smoking cigarettes. It's so cool. You guys look so cool in your shorts. It was awesome.
Oh, because that was still one of
This
the
is
warm
still
days.
so
this is
fucking
very
hot.
visual.
It was visual.
Cheeks Jr. and Kevin in shorts.
I was wearing pants,
smoking.
just to be clear.
Cheeks was wearing shorts.
It was a little bit cold for shorts.
Oh, really?
It had
By
gotten
this
colder.
point- Oh,
yeah.
got it.
But there was plenty of people in the audience wearing shorts, so I made fun of them. I was like, they sell these things that are longer shorts. They're called pants.
I'm sure that killed.
Really funny.
Just fucking crash.
Yeah.
Tim,
Yeah.
as a San Francisco native,
Uh-huh.
where do you come down on the local businesses closing up shop, having to be moved out, all this stuff? Obviously, we have the Punchline conundrum over here, but down in the Mission, I know it's a big thing, right? Gentrification, people keep bringing up. Luca's Delicatessen, that closing made headlines the world over. 'Cause
Yeah.
I found a New York Times article getting shared on Twitter about that and how, everything's changing in SF and it's ruining it. I saw today Mission Pies is closing and people are freaking out about that. And it seems like there seems to be all these local businesses that have been there. Mission Pies, I believe, was 12 years. Luca's been like 70 or something like that. But
Yeah.
the thing being with Luca's, right, is that they own the building that they're in and the parking lot next door, and it's something obscene. They got like, $9 million, $8 million just to close up shop and be done with it. Where do you come down? Do you worry about San Francisco losing its identity?
No, because I feel like the things that people are going to fight for, they're going to fight for them, and those fights will win out. I think this Punchline situation's a kind of proof of that. Like, I think that it gets really, it's kind of put up or shut up in a lot of ways, where it's like a lot of people are bitching about this stuff, but it's like, okay, but have you supported this place in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
I feel like the onus is on you a lot to kind of like go through and support the local businesses that you want. I support Gordo's. I hope that it never goes away. If it was going to go away, I would rally. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But like, there's a ton of other places that I feel like there's a lot of talk, not a lot of action going on that I'm seeing.
And you have to. I mean, I personally think it is a bigger problem. But yeah, to Tim's point, like when you go to a lot of these places, the quality of service that you're getting more often than not is not what you would expect out of a mom and pop place, where you want to have that like personal service. You want to have that feeling like you're in a place where people want to know your name, and you're just not getting it. Most of these places are run down and just it's not worth it for a lot of places that are going out of business. But it's sad, and it's sad living in eventually we're going to turn around and you're not going to be able to get anything but a Starbucks or something delivered to your house.
But here's my
That's
question.
probably
You're
pretty much
being
going to be it.
crazy. We got Luchos down the street.
I was going to say, do you think
Guarantee that will not be there forever. Guarantee
yeah,
it won't be
nothing's
here.
gonna be there forever.
That's my thing is like, I mean, that's kind of,
That street is a ghost town, by the way. There's 4 or 5 storefronts that are just gone.
Sure.
Yeah,
As
but
you
like-
hope
down
like
there.
something like Lucho's, right, like can show that.
I'm telling you right now that you look at that. I walk into that place. I'm like, this place is great. It will be here for another 6 months, and then they will go out,
Lucho's?
they'll go out of
Lucho's is
business.
packed.
Dude, they they're out the
They
door
are
a lot of times.
packed.
Okay, fine. Well, whatever their lease
Which
is.
one's Lucho's again?
It's the
Thai
restaurant.
place?
It's the like
restaurant.
breakfast place we go.
Oh,
to
right.
once in a while.
We did our reviews there.
Yeah.
Our employee
Oh,
reviews.
sure. Yeah, employee reviews.
It's one of those places where you. I mean, sure, it's doing great, but at some point, this is the big problem: is that every time this area that we're in right now, this West Portal area, is very up and coming as far as that little stretch is concerned. So
West Portal itself.
as those start getting more expensive, they're going to just price all those places out. Like even that cafe, I guarantee it went out of business because the lease came up and they were like, "Cool, this is a giant space.
Well, to be-
we're going
to
to
be
sell
fair,
this."
A lot of places on that street and a lot of places in San Francisco, it wasn't a lease situation. People think it is. It was actually a not hitting the health requirements. And so it's like they got rated by.
Oh, I do not want this.
I want it. I want it.
Can
I
we
want
do
it.
two
Thank
there,
you.
Of Diet Coke.
They
Thanks, buddy.
didn't
I
hit
don't
their
know
health
who-
stuff.
but they didn't hit the right health things, and it's like you can't be doing that shit.
See, and that's my thing.
Perfect point, though, right? That's
Yeah.
a lot of these mom and pop places.
Exactly.
They just are run terribly, and they're not that great, and they're kind of run down, and everyone goes, "Oh, that's the culture of San Francisco." Like you walk around the Mission, and you're like, these places all look terrible.
Yeah, and
There's
that's
all-
why the Mission looks like a demilitarized
It
zone.
looks
It's
like a
pointless.
fucking demilitarized zone, and a lot of people say, "Hey, the Mission is where all the culture of San Francisco is," and I'm like, I totally appreciate that, and I totally respect it. But at the same time, I literally don't feel safe eating in a lot of these places or drinking in a lot of these places. Like there's bars in the Mission that I'm like, this place is fucking filthy. What are you drinking that Bang?
I forget how I've heard. Oh, people were making fun
It
of
was
the Bang
E3,
E3
dude.
thing.
It was everywhere. It's like a nightmare. You
and they
can't
had
get away
like
from
booth
this
babes
shit.
who were thinking, "Oh my god."
They've got it. Probably should have got. They have a lot of really
Bang.
good flavors.
Potent brain and body fuel by the makers of the legendary Red Line energy products. Make no mistake, Bang is not your stereotypical high sugar, life sucking soda masquerading as an energy drink. High sugar drinks spike blood sugar producing metabolic mayhem, causing you to crash harder than a test dummy into a brick wall.
Oh, it's sugar free.
Power up with Bang's potent brain and body rocking
Interesting
fuel.
that Bang.
Creatine, caffeine. You take this one. I'm not going to drink it. CoQ10 and BCAAs, branched chain amino acids.
This is the energy drink that a lot of
Oh
people
my
that work
God.
out drink. Like a lot of
Life-
people who are very fit.
Life is an extreme sport, and Bang is the extreme energy source to live life extreme.
Let me see what we're fucking with here. We
Fuck
got some
me running.
niacin, some
Why do
vitamin
you
C,
drink
some
this
vitamin
stuff?
B, some
The
magnesium.
water comes out of the faucet.
Gets me jacked
It's
up.
got
man.
25% of your vitamin B12 during the day.
Zero
I can get into
calories.
this.
Gets me
Oh,
jacked up.
God,
Yeah,
try
dude.
it.
Okay, it's got a little nice
very
little
fruity.
bouquet.
Yeah,
A little
very fruity smell.
bouquet.
Oh,
How you feeling?
You know what?
What's up?
I might be on that Bang bus.
You're on the Bang bus?
I might get on that bus with you. That
I
Bang
feel like
bus.
hold on. I feel like him drinking that was just to get to that joke.
Yeah, 100%. It's not bad though. It's actually a lot less potent than I thought it was going to be. Like, have you had a sugar-free Red Bull lately?
no.
Those things hit
I
you in
don't
the
drink
fucking
those.
back of the
I don't
teeth,
drink
like
that. No.
like my mom in the '80s. Just
What?
backhands.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Also, don't talk shit about Bang, man, because I feel like if they're spreading all that money around, we might get a sponsorship from them. So,
Hey, man,
It's
I
not
Bang.
like shit. It was just like it was a lot to
I don't
deal
drink
with.
any of the
a lot
energy
of bang
drinks,
for
I
your
mean,
buck
whatever.
there.
wow, that's actually not bad.
The gentrification thing is very
Back to
interesting.
it.
Being
No.
somebody from here, because it's like there is so much culture in that, and like there's a lot of negative things, and like it's all perspective, right? Like I know so many friends and families that have been moved from where they grew up because of all this, whether that's people from the Mission or a lot of my friends, specifically people that were in Chinatown that were moved out, or North Beach and like that
You too,
area.
right?
What's up?
You too. Like you left your area.
That's different though. Like that's a very unique, specific case. But like those families getting moved and kind of away
Yeah.
from the culture that's there.
Well, it's displacing a lot of the lower and the middle class, and that's the problem with what's happening in SF right now. Is that because it's one of the most expensive like cities to operate in, because people know that their land is at a premium. It's pricing everyone out of the market, and what happens there is then that cascades downward to the to like rentals and real estate, and people just can't afford to live here anymore. So you have a lot of people, especially people who are like working in restaurants or people
Yeah.
who are doing those smaller jobs or lower paying jobs. They have to come from so fucking far away to just be able to work in the city that at a certain point it's like, what's the point?
See, that's where I think I'm not torn, but I see two different stories, right? Where I do fall into the camp with Tim and what Kevin's saying, right? And like Lucho's, but take it away. That there are mom and grop shops of different restaurants and companies that are all over the place and are successful. Like,
Right.
leave Lucho's out of it, but like San Francisco.
I didn't mean to speak badly about Lucho. I like it. And by the way, one of the reasons why I do like that place is when we walk in, the
They know
woman
us.
who runs it goes, "Hey, like
Yeah,
let me
yeah,
clear
yeah.
some tables out for you," and you feel like you're not at a chain restaurant.
Right.
You
Their
feel like you're
roasted
actually
chicken's fantastic.
Yeah, it's very, very
remembering
good.
it now.
Pie bowl or whatever.
and that's what you need to do in order to survive in the city.
And so that's my thing.
I just don't
is
know if
like,
it's enough.
San Francisco, right, has been going for a long time. Of
Right.
course, they make shirts with us every so often, or did the Marvel T-shirts and the bags. And they just opened one in SFO. Like they're doing well.
Yeah, I saw that.
There's a Vietnamese place where the old Underdog's organic sausage joint used to be. That is fucking awesome and
it's a
seems to be
bun me.
doing real. I mean,
But see, the problem is,
Maybe-
I feel like there's so many layers to the gentrification conversation and the culture of SF and all that stuff, where it's like even those places, many people would argue are the problem. Like, they are not the original mom and dad owned Chinese restaurants, right?
No,
and
they're
like,
corporate. They're corporations, basically.
but it's like even they're startups though. And it's
yeah,
like
there's
it might-
startups of like.
They might be
hipster
made.
joints.
It's hipster. Hipsters are a
Yeah,
good
there's a
way to
place
put
near
it,
me
but
called
it's-
Rooster and Rice, which I was like, oh, that's the most hipster thing ever.
Hipster coffee shop.
And I totally hated on it until I tried it, and now I'm like, God damn, this place is fucking good.
It's good, but
Yeah.
that's the whole food truck culture and all that coming
Yep.
through as well. But I'm even talking about the things where it's like I don't know exactly who founded San Francisco, but similar things to that. Adapt is a good example, but it's like it's a lot of these kids that grew up in San Francisco with their parents running Chinese restaurants, and they were given the opportunity to have that entrepreneurial kind of
Yeah.
go for it, and they had a place and an area that they can stay in. That's why you see a lot of the stuff in the Sunset out there, which the Sunset is the west side of San Francisco. Richmond and Sunset are definitely like they're seen as the outside of San Francisco. It's definitely the city. The city's only 7 by 7 miles, but nobody wanted to go out there. That was just a bunch of residential places. But you're starting to see things creep out there. Even the place we're at right now, like 10 years ago, this block we're on was a disaster. From here to City College was like one of the worst areas where you would not want to go there. It was
I'd live here.
run
And I'd
down
live here now.
and horrible. And now it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Kevin,
So-
maybe these businesses would survive if they didn't turn down a bunch of fatties like us. The other day we went to, what's the Chinese place?
Emmys.
Emmys. We went to Emmys.
And
We
Emmys,
ordered a
Emmys
fuckload of
is a
food.
shitty
Emmys is like the definition of just like San Francisco Chinese food.
restaurant, yeah.
We ordered a lot of food, and I guess we didn't realize how much we'd. And
We went in there and we were ready to party. You know what I mean? We had a plan.
E3 was over. You guys had just left. It's all right. We're ready to eat some food. And the
Oh,
guy
so
that-
E3 was just starting.
For
Well,
you
for you
guys,
guys,
yeah,
for,
sure,
for
okay.
us here,
As
the
a
ones
wrap
that
on you
worked
guys, let's do
real
some
hard on the
Yeah.
weekend. Yeah, that was
and
it.
so the guy who works there was just like, "You sure you want all this food?" And we're like, "Yeah."
He was scared.
He was like, he worried for us. He was like, "Guys,
At
Hey,
one-
man.
are you sure you don't want to share this? Like, you two?" And like, no, like we're good.
Like,
But like,
are you sure you want two
Yeah.
family style Mongolian beefs?
He kept
instead
on like
of one?
He kept on like pushing, and we're like, yeah, we're good. And then it hit us like, fuck, maybe we're not good.
Andy, it hit us when he walked over and he was like, "Hey guys, I'm sorry, I have to combine these two tables so that you have enough space." And that's when we were like, maybe he means it.
And then all the food came out. I was like, oh my god, like this is
No,
way too
hey,
much
are
for
you
us.
kidding? We almost killed it.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah,
good.
we took
It was
most of it
really
out.
good.
Yeah, see, I respect that. I like a waiter or a waitress who's going to be like, "Hey,
Back it off.
I would say do this, do that." Like
Yeah.
here's a because nothing annoys me more. This is the classic Jen and Greg thing. Is we want to try so much stuff, we do it, and then it's like literally they walk away and like, I think we're in over our head. And sure enough, you're like, oh man, we were done at the appetizers.
Yeah,
Why
but he
did
did the cocky thing at the end. He came back and kind of gave us a look like, told you.
Idiots.
No,
And I
but
was
we
like-
ate so much of it.
We ate a lot of
We
it,
ate
dude.
so much of it. I didn't think that look that he gave us at the end was justified. I was
Right,
like,
yeah.
you're wrong. You're
I
wrong.
kind of felt the same way, Kevin. Like we took down a lot of it to the
He
point
came
where
back
Kevin
and
was
he
like,
"Do you want 4
my
boxes?"
stomach hurts, dude.
Yeah.
And then there was one more shrimp left. I was like, eat the fucking shrimp. You want that shrimp? He's like, I do want this shrimp.
Yeah.
When we
It's delicious.
left, when we left the studio, I said I wanted to eat till I hated myself,
You did?
and I nailed it.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
So
back
this,
to your
this
point.
week is an interesting time to bring up this conversation
Sure.
because now is the wide release of Last Black Man in San Francisco, the movie.
Did you see it?
Not yet, seen it tomorrow.
Oh,
very,
nice.
very excited to see it. It's very much about what we're talking about here. And it's a project that's been worked on for the last decade, like literally 10 years, by someone that went to School of the Arts, same school that my brother went to. Gia went there. Gia actually went with the director of this movie, Joe Talbot, who now is... he won Best Director at Sundance, like all these crazy awards for this movie.
And Joe's girlfriend waited on us at Wild Wings that one time.
She was the only good one.
It was Joe's brother's girlfriend.
My apologies.
It ended up being, but
She
yes.
was great.
and
by
she
the
was
way.
fantastic.
We had a lot of bad
And the last
experiences
time
at
we
Wild
went,
Wings.
the last time we went was without you.
Goddamn.
It was
And
so
she was
Mike.
not there. We went with Snowbike Mike because we said he's never seen a Buffalo Wild Wings before. He's from the far up north, above the
It's
wall.
true.
And and we're like, we're going to show you a great time. And it was the worst experience we've ever had.
horrible,
It was so bad. To the point where I was ready to ask for the check. And I looked over and Andy had not gotten his food yet. It was so bad.
How did I screw it up?
It was so bad.
To the point where I actually felt so bad that I was like, I used to be a server. What if I got up and helped these people? What if I just like
There
started
were hella
helping?
people there.
I know. Sorry.
It wasn't like it was super crowded.
We've talked about this enough. We talked about it all last
miserable,
week.
yeah.
on the
Last
podcast.
time I went there without you, Nick, where it was me, Joey, Tim, and Kevin.
What do you say it like that?
That feels right.
I didn't mean to go with that. You were just
we
traveling.
went there. They
Oh,
had the
that's
new
Target.
silver trays. They changed everything. Right, exactly. And at first, we had a slow start because there was some weird soccer game going on, and then it got into a good thing, and we were in a good way. Sorry, last Black Man in San Francisco.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard nothing but good things. I'm very excited to see it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll give an update on Screencast or somewhere. Yeah.
So like that's you said something earlier that I think stumbles on it for me, right? Is that I just don't. It's not like. And there's examples and exceptions to this rule. It seems like most of the people starting this stuff are good people who are like from the Bay, right? They're not. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like to look at San Francisco or to look at the
Let's put it this way.
Luchos or look at whatever and be like, oh well, you know, like they're not the original Chinese food place. Like
Well, let's put it this way. You got to be pretty out there if you're living in Nebraska and you go, you know what my dream is? To run a
incredibly
restaurant.
low over-
Yeah, to go to the most expensive state of the planet and run a restaurant that has like no margins and try to survive in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I think most of these places are people from San Francisco who are like, I want to like put something cool in this neighborhood that I think would be great.
Yeah.
And I want to do it in a way that's going to work. And it sucks because like the Luchos, I think Lucho is doing it right, but there's just some part of me that knows that at some point the landlord or the corporation that owns the fucking like this whole block is going to go, cool, we can get a lot more money out of not renting that place. Because that happens all the time where they go, it's just not worth it for us to try and rent this place just yet, so we'll just keep it empty for a year or two or three or whatever until the market catches up, and then we can charge way more for it.
But there's just more money there, though. It's like that's the argument against that, though, is like in Nebraska, it's like, cool, you can open up a little store, but there's not the culture that wants.
Well, that's
that
what
type of
my
thing.
point in that was to support what he was saying. Is I do think a lot of these places are homegrown.
Yeah.
I don't think people from out of state, their dream is not to come and like it be in the worst fucking market ever to run a restaurant. I think you have to love San Francisco and love the culture here to want to start a restaurant because what is it, like 80% of restaurants fail? Like 80%, all these storefront
anyway,
things are they're just it's really hard to run them. So you have to love what you're doing and really want to
See,
be a
I'm
part
saying
of
the
that.
opposite of that. Though. I think people are trying to come here, and I think the proof of that is all the pop-up, like the food trucks that turn into San Francisco places, and it's
possible
for however long they last. But
Yeah.
like there are the diamonds in the rough. Curry Up now being a perfect example.
Woo!
It's like
I'm gonna have some tonight.
that place is going to be there for a
You
while,
are.
I'd imagine, because like there is a culture around wanting to support the kind of startup food culture, and a lot of that's in San Francisco.
And there's plenty of people doing it very, very well. Like it's not to say that you can't thrive here. I have a friend who is part of a bar group, and they just opened their other bar, which is it's killing, and they're fucking packed night after night, day after day. Like second that place opens, any of their bars open, line around the block. But it's because they know how to create that culture that perfectly taps into the zeitgeist of San Francisco.
Yeah.
They know how to like. It's a spot that hits on all levels. It's a place where people want to go. It's a place where it's cool to go to, and it's very much now. And you can see it when people open places that aren't that. You just go, oh, it's not going to work.
Totally.
That
But
place
so
is
that's
gonna
why
fucking
a cool
fail.
example, I think, is there's so much untapped potential in the west side of San Francisco. And like Underdogs just opened Underdogs 2 out near my house. So
Yeah.
like way the fuck out there.
That area is really cool.
And that area
It's
went
developing.
from just being like, oh, it's just a bunch of random houses to like, oh shit, this is kind of like a weird mini.
Where was this at again?
Like 43rd and Terraville.
Okay.
it's like White Caps right there.
Yes, right next to the beach. But yeah, now there's a fancy cocktail bar, and there's also a dive bar across the street, and there's Underdogs, and there's these random pop up like, it's kind of like
You always see them on Uber Eats. You always see
Underdogs?
you always see these pop up shops on Uber
Oh,
Eats
yeah.
where it's like, it's kind of like a no name restaurant. You're like, what the fuck who's selling these like whatever chicken
Barbecue
tenders or whatever?
or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like a pop up truck or whatever the fuck. And then they eventually do grow if they see success or whatever.
But there'll be like a record store.
like Via
and you're like,
313.
what the fuck? But it's like records that are like custom records that are like, it's art pieces and shit. But like you just see things keep switching out. I'm like, how the hell is this into Sunset? But it's like, I bet you in the next 10 years, that's going to be an entire strip just like 9th and Irving. It's
possible.
Whatever.
And you'll probably see some turnover. I think a lot of these places are people that, like, I've seen a lot of times where you walk in and you go, oh, you're a person that made a lot of money in tech and your dream was to open something like this, and now you're opening it, and then when the margins aren't there, they'll go away, or they hit and they stick around for a little while. But I've just seen so, like in my neighborhood, specifically in like Cow Hollow, I've seen so much turnover of these places that come in, and I'm like, who the fuck thought it was a good idea to put another of this thing
whatever
here?
it is.
Like,
you also
GGG,
live in like or the area around you is like, I would say, the worst place.
I don't
because
even know
it's
where
like,
Nick lives.
You need
I'm gonna just say
massive
it.
success to be able to
It's one of
run
the
your
most
tiny
it's
little.
arguably probably.
That's like the Beverly Hills, right? That's what I always think of when I think of the marina.
No,
right?
I mean, I would say Beverly Hills would be more like Pack Heights. I think Marina it's a close second. It's a very, very expensive neighborhood just because there's a lot of shit around. I mean, it's got an Apple store, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you know you're big time, when you can walk to an Apple
Whoa.
store. I know. But the way it breaks down is that I'm in between a few major streets, and one of them is like the workout street. So it ended up being, for whatever reason, the street where there's a Crunch Fitness and a Soul Cycle and a Lululemon.
Orange
and
Theory
used to
there
be no Orange Theory yet.
There will be.
I'm sure there will be. And so it ends up being, no, it's not a citrus themed thing, Andy. It's just, yeah, it's a workout themed
gotcha.
thing. Good job, man. That was a good pull. Pinkberry. But
There wasn't Jumbo Juice there.
there wasn't. Did there used to be a Jumbo Juice there?
They did,
That's
on
fantastic. No, I mean, literally, there used to be a Nike store there, and it went out of business.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't do enough business. It was a Nike women's store, and it just, one day I looked over, I'm like, oh, this is a new startup weird storefront for some other thing that's like a North Face ripoff, but probably more expensive and way bougier. So
Yeah,
that's
because that's the vibe I've always gotten from your neighborhood,
Yeah.
right? Even when I'm around in like, what is it? The place I like, Piggin, whatever.
you like not
Tipsy
Pig and
Pig.
Whistle,
Tipsy Pig, yeah. Like that's always like a staple there. But when you do go out there, you see everything else around it changes.
Yeah, and some of it's stayed around for a while. People fight and you know, to be fair, like competition breeds excellence. Like you do have people who want to exist and want to kick ass, and so, but then for every one of those people, you go, wow, you're opening up another dog store, another pet store, another kids clothing store. It's like, I don't think it's gonna
That's
work.
the problem, is it comes in waves, and like we've seen it where it's like there's the one hot thing, and then everybody does that, and it's like when there's just too much saturation.
Oh, you mean like
there can either
barbershops?
Well,
There are so many fucking barbershops now that you can watch. So I get my hair cut at a place called People's Barber. Shout out to People's Barber. It used to be packed.
Right around the block from where KFL 2 and 3 were.
Yeah, exactly. It was actually walking from there.
Oh, from the Regency.
Good pull. Good pull. Great place, fun.
Well, I tried
bar-
to go there and it was too crowded.
It was, yeah. So 2 years ago, it was too crowded. I had to make an appointment at least a week and ahead of time, if not 2 weeks ahead of time, because I just wouldn't be able to get there. Now, day of. I walk in, four chairs are busy. Because all the people from that trained at People's saw it and were like, fuck this, we're going to open up our own shit.
The dude downstairs.
Dude downstairs. There's a person in my neighborhood that opened up one. There's another one so they all spread out. And now, you know, every fucking 5 feet, there's a hipster barbershop. And I'm like, what happens when it becomes cool to just not have a haircut anymore? Like, y'all are going to go out of business. But I guess that's the
You gotta
risk
ride that
gotta run.
lightning, right?
I guess so. But yeah, I mean, that's what happens. The market becomes saturated and people.
And like
move on.
I think that we've seen it, especially in the Bay Area, like 3 times recently. One of them being the what are the macarons?
Yeah.
Macarons.
whatever
The
they
French-
are.
I always,
French cookie?
to me, it was either macaroon or macaron. I never knew.
they're different.
I kind of pretend. I'd prefer
the
not to know.
macaroons are coconut.
Which is the one I get from
Macarons.
that
Those are
macarons?
those are
green,
French.
the
pink,
They come in different colors. Yeah.
Yeah, those things
lemonade.
everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like those sorts of, and now
Well,
none.
before that, remember it was the cupcakes. Cupcakes were the shit. Back
Oh
in the
my
day.
God, in
Carrots,
Austin?
cupcakes. You gotta get cupcakes, and then
Yeah.
cupcakes were everywhere. Everyone was bringing cupcakes to every fucking party. People would show up to party. Oh, you got cupcakes too? Fuck, I'm not original. Now
Throw 'em
there's no
out.
cupcake.
I mean, what's
places.
funny though is like I can name like 3 different places, like specific buildings that went from being macaron places to being frozen yogurt places
Yeah.
to being now Pokeball places. And
Pokeball's
now
huge.
Pokeballs,
we're already
yeah.
seeing them all collapse.
Yeah.
It's
Dude,
like
if I had
our
a
favorite
froyo
one
place near my
gone.
spot, I'd be there every day.
I used to
You
have.
live in the best fucking place, man. I went to dinner around the corner
You have some
at
good
Burma
places by
Superstar
you, yeah.
last night.
That
you
line's
got-
always super packed.
You got the best of everything.
you
right
got
there,
a donut
man.
shop right there, buddy.
So good.
You do have
Close
that
to
little
Fiorella,
strip.
too. Close to Fiorella too.
Oh, I've never been there.
You gotta go.
Gotta go.
Yeah,
Gotta go.
I like your neighborhood. I like that little that strip that you live next to. I'm not gonna. But
I like your address.
yeah, I like your social security number. Here it is.
I told you I saw or I tweeted out that I saw a best friend
Going
walking
through
in
your
the
trash?
street. No, it was funny. I was walking to. It was the Saturday of. fuck, was it the Saturday before E3 started? I don't remember. But I see this dude walk in with a PlayStation button up.
Yeah.
All the sacred symbols on it. And I was like, oh, I'm wearing a PlayStation shirt too. That's cool. And I look at his backpack. He's got a little kind of funny smiley. I was like, oh shit. So I saw him like he I think he's had his headphones on. I'm not sure. Or I had headphones on. But he stops at the intersection. I'm like, hey man. And he turns around. He's like, oh my God, Andy, what the fuck? And I was like, hey dude, I just wanted to say hi. I saw the little fucking.
Been following you for 14 blocks.
Yeah.
Trying to catch up to you.
Yeah, it was super cool. And I guess he works in Oakland and was like, hey, he was like, fuck, I should have given you my business card. He told me on Twitter. He's like, if you ever want to do events out here, I like help run a spot. Either a restaurant or a bar or something like that, that if y'all ever want to have a meetup, let me know. I can hook you up or whatever.
know.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool.
I'm on that Cobb show I was on. One of the comics, I think his name's Andre, is a best friend.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, hey man, what's going on? He's like, oh, I know who you are. And we talked. We were in the green room together, and we just talked for like a good half hour about our content and like how long you've been following us and stuff like that. But it was really cool to be like, oh, you're a comic that came up, not like didn't really even realize you're gonna be on a show with me, and then like we got to hang out and
cool.
catch up. It was really cool.
The one thing in this conversation before it wraps and we move somewhere else is
I like this conversation.
it's fun, right?
Let's keep it going.
Well, it's
for
something I
4
think about,
hours.
and there's more to come. But it is the idea that you brought up, right? That like service industry employees can't work and live in SF.
Well, I mean,
it seems,
the
right?
majority of people who are not, unless you're making, like, I think to quote a statistic, and Kevin, I think you read this article, so tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I think they were saying if you make if you make $100,000 a year, you're at the poverty level for San Francisco.
Yeah, I think it was like 110,000
Yeah.
maybe.
The meaning you are barely able to like exist in the city by standards of living in a 1-bedroom household by yourself. Like I think
Here's the
that was
thing, though. And like, I know I'm from here and I have a very different warped perspective. I understand that. But it's like, there is more money to be made here. And on top of that, I feel like so many people hear that, get scared, take it as fact and run away. And I'm just like, you're spending more in the East Bay than you could be in the Sunset. You just don't want to live in the Sunset. And it's like, that's an issue.
No, I don't know. The East Bay is pretty expensive now.
I mean, it's starting to like go
Like
out
Oakland
there.
and Emeryville
But that's
are
because
pretty
I feel
expensive.
people are stupid and don't take the time to like look into things. And
Oh
just
no! I mean,
take
dude,
it at face
if
value.
I were
and
moving to
run.
the city right now, I would absolutely move. I'd move out to the fucking avenues. I'd be like on 45th.
It's great.
Who cares?
It's awesome.
The thing that a lot
But
of
people don't look into that.
Well, people, it's weird because you remember the back in the day before Uber when it was like,
Oh, yeah.
good luck getting out to the
Yeah,
sunset.
no,
People just
no,
wouldn't go because you could not get back. It was a no man's land. Cabs wouldn't take you out there. They wouldn't take you back. You'd have to just suck your way back into the main part of the city.
Literally.
But no, I mean, let's put it this way: if global warming keeps hitting, I'm buying a place if I can ever afford one out in the fucking at the beach. That's just gonna be Malibu in about 10 years. You're gonna walk out and be like, this is the most expensive property in all of San Francisco because it's beachfront. It's gonna be fucking amazing. But right now, no one wants to live out there because they're dumb.
It's going to
No,
be
people
destroyed.
still do.
Yeah, it's
But it's up and coming. It's
Yeah.
not, again, it is not
I mean,
anywhere
it's-
near. what it
regardless
used
of
to
the up and coming stuff, it's just like I just feel like it's been that way for decades. Where there's
It's
like
still
places
very expensive to buy, though. That's the problem.
I'm supposed to buy everywhere. I mean, like everywhere around here, sure, but like I just feel like so many people like then don't buy. Like you can rent. You're not being forced to do.
Yeah,
any
but
of
for
that.
anyone who's making like, who's not making a tremendous amount of money, you're still gonna have to. You're still forced to live with roommates. You're still forced to deal with with that setup. Like I have friends of mine that I live with like 9 roommates because they want a certain level of quality of living, but there's no way to afford that on their own. So it's
Yeah.
just the way it goes.
I don't know, man. I feel like just network, meet people, figure out. There's so many different options. I know it's weird that like I feel like there's so many times I'm in a situation where like a friend needs to figure something out. It's like, cool, just ask around until it's like you don't have 9 roommates. You have 1 roommate, or you don't, but you live
Sure.
in someone's garage. But it's fine because it's still a place that's nice. You know?
Yeah, but then you have to figure out how am I going to get to work? Is a bus? Is a car? All that stuff. I mean, it's a harder city to live in. I think the entirety of the Bay Area is harder to live in than anything that I'm ever used to before I moved up here. Like when I used to live in Orange County, yeah, I lived in Orange, which was Garden Grove, which was bordering with Orange, where the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim play, which is nowhere near LA, but whatever. And Garden Grove was not a great area. And then I lived in Irvine, which was a nice area. And I lived in Irvine because I had 2 roommates and I could afford a larger rent. I think at that point, the room that I was renting was $500, or maybe it was $400 because I had the smallest room. So that gives you an idea of how much rent was down there back when I was in college. But like, that is nowhere close to like when I moved up here for the money that I was renting a place for. I was like, oh my God, you get nothing. It's so fucking hard to live up here. And that was 12 years ago. Now it's just, you got people making millions of dollars selling fucking apps, and they're buying places left and right, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like my when I told my parents that I was going to take this job and move here, they're like, "You're fucking crazy. Like, why would you do that?" Yeah. And then they did the same thing. They looked up how much does it take to live in San Francisco, and it was obviously a lot of money.
Sticker shock, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I even had that sticker shock too.
Yeah.
And it does, yeah, but I hear it all the time where people will say like, yeah, but it must be fucking expensive up there. And to my rebuttal is usually the same thing. I'm like, yeah, just you find people to live with.
You have a couple roommates. And
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then
you get
then
a rent
also
control place that's not going to destroy you.
sure,
So you don't live in a
you
place
want to
that's
live
like
in
brand new.
a decent spot that isn't scary or to be around to walk down the streets or whatever, like in the Tenderloin or anything like that. But then,
But that's even the Tenderloin, like those areas. Like there was a guy, I was at Punchline last night, and there was a tourist who tapped me on the shoulder as we were walking out. And he's like, "Sorry, I don't mean to bother you." Also, the guy freaked me out because he stopped as I walked past him and reached into his bag, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" And then he reached in and grabbed giant headphones and was about to put them on. He was like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" And I'm like, "What's up?" And we were in Soma. He's like, "Is it safe to walk here?" And I was like, "Yeah." I didn't even think twice. And I'm like, "Is it safe?"
I mean, Tenderloin at this point, it is like rolling the dice of block for block of which one's safe.
But this
which
was
one's
Soma. I'm like,
Twitter.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna be okay. Like you walking around
You can get robbed anywhere.
What's that?
You can get robbed anywhere.
But I mean, like, I don't know. As far as like, would I feel safe walking down the street in most places in San Francisco? Yeah.
I want to jump back to Andy though. You were sticker shock, living with people.
Yeah.
What do you tell them? I mean,
yeah, I mean, now I say, yeah, if you really want to live here, you find people to room with and stuff like that. But then it also becomes a point of, yeah, but I'm 31. I don't want to have roommates forever, right?
yeah,
I'm
sure,
getting to
yeah.
the point where it's like I would love to live alone. What does that mean for me, right?
Yeah.
But when people tell me that, it's like, look, if there are jobs out here that you want, clearly there's a lot of like game studios you can work at out here. There's
of
different.
tech.
There's GameSpot. There's IGN.
Yeah.
There's all these like different places that you could work if you really, really want to be in the industry. You find a way to make it work.
But the other thing is this, and because we've talked a lot negatively about the city. The one thing that I will say is that I go back and forth between going, wow, the city's very, very expensive. It's hard. It's a hard city to live in from like a monetary standpoint, but from a lifestyle standpoint, it's so much fucking fun being in San Francisco, especially for me, having all the things that I love, comedy, jujitsu, this studio, all my friends are here, and being able to get around, just hopping in an Uber and you're anywhere you want to
Yeah,
be in
totally.
like 5 to 10 minutes.
You can get anywhere within 25 minutes.
And not only that, any food you want is there. It's pretty much open pretty late. Like it is a quality of life that I never thought was possible living in Southern California, because everything's so far away from you in Southern California that more often than not you just go, I'm gonna stay in. I don't feel like driving, or I don't really want to deal with that. It's gonna be 45, 50 minutes to get out there, and then an hour and a half to get back. Like LA is a pain in the ass to get around. It's got a great culture too, but it comes with some drawbacks as well. So I will say, like, I do love living in San Francisco, and I love it a lot more than the pain in the ass that it is to live here. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it.
yeah, it's always a thing. It's always in the forefront of my mind, I think, especially as we own the business, right? People always bring that up. Well, why San Francisco? You think about moving, and then just again, sticker shock and headline stuff where people just dunk on it all the time without ever living it. Where again, yeah, it's tough, to live anywhere. I think I remember starting at IGN, right, and making 45,000. I was like, oh my God, that's like double what I make in Missouri. And then doing the cost of living calculator, oh my God, that's less than I make in Missouri. You know what I mean? I'm like, entry level stuff and getting out there and making it work. And it is, being an adult and balancing things, right? And asking the right questions and doing the right things and making the moves you need to make and figure it out that way. But I just feel like that's life. And again, I've been here now for 12 years. So that's just how I think about it. But it's always that thing of like, yeah, like even with when people are the sticker shock aspect of it, of how much it costs, or these headlines of what poverty line is 100,000, which I don't buy, and I don't fully understand. I didn't read the article, yada yada yada. I just don't buy
It's
it.
according to their standards of living, which was I don't think it's. I mean, that's the thing is like no matter where you're at, this is my personal opinion, and you guys can live your life however you want, but you should always be living in a surplus. Where if you're making X amount of dollars, you should tailor your life to be making so you can put away 10% of whatever that is every month, right? That's how I've always lived my life, and I've never felt like I was broke. I've always felt like I can enjoy life to a certain degree, but you have to live disciplined. Like you can't just spend every dollar and then take out a credit card and be like, fuck it, and then a month later feel like, oh shit, I'm really behind and in credit card debt.
Yeah.
Like you've got to be able to live up to your within your means.
Right,
period.
right.
Because there's so many people that you see that like look at celebrities. They make millions of dollars and they don't live in their means and then they go fucking broke. And it's like you always hear those stories. I watched a story, a documentary the other night, or at least I started it. It was very boring, so I stopped watching it. But it was a documentary about Flash Gordon, the guy that that movie. Yeah. Flash Right. So there's a documentary about that guy and how he went a little crazy and had some drug and alcohol
I'm gonna
problems.
be the biggest star forever.
He had literally, it's his story is kind of fascinating. But he was making millions of dollars and he was just like, fuck it, I want to spend all of it. It's like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like even if you're a millionaire,
Hammer.
you can spend that money. MC Hammer is a perfect example. Lots of people have gone bankrupt.
Weren't a bunch of those people because they didn't pay their taxes?
Hammer was got put in jail because
you have too big of an entourage. The right people aren't working with you. Like there's a million different.
Well,
things.
I read
Wesley Snipes is the guy who didn't pay any taxes.
Oh, that's
He's
right.
like, fuck it, they'll never catch
Fuck
me.
him. Yeah.
Like, weren't you in like a Fifth Blade movie? You owe us money.
Motherfucker, no, you're right. There's a poster right there.
I wonder how many of those people are poor management, like they had poor financial management.
Sure.
I think what happens honestly, because I've read a bunch of stories, is that it's not about poor financial management. It's that they just don't give a fuck. Like they think. Like Sam Kinnis is a perfect example where you're high, you're drunk, you want people to like you because you're a very insecure person, which is why you're abusing drugs and alcohol to begin with.
Surround yourself with yes
and you're
men.
going out and you're buying people Corvettes every fucking day because that's what makes you feel good. Because in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, I can always do another night or two and sell out this thing. And at a certain point, every single celebrity, no matter what, their career arcs and then it comes back down. And if you come back down and you don't have a lot of money invested in stuff, you're broke. You're fucking done.
Unless
You're never
you're Keanu
getting that
Reeves,
back.
you're just constantly like riding a wave.
Keanu's, I think, to Kevin's point, I'm pretty sure Keanu has really good business managers because he donated a lot of money from his Matrix and he's still making bank. That motherfucker's awesome.
He's cool.
He's having a renaissance, as they say.
I remember when I first moved into the house that I'm at now, like it was my first time I actually had to pay real rent anywhere.
What does that mean
for
exactly?
myself, actually. So I paid rent from my mom's place, like, and I still to this day do for her stuff. But there was a period when I met Gia when it was the first time I'm like, I need to get out of my mom's house, still pay for that stuff. But then I stayed at my friend Curran's house for a little over a year.
Yeah.
But I was only like, I stayed at Kevin's house for a month one time to kind of like ease into it. And then
It's a fun month.
It was a fun month. And then
Jesus,
Is
what was
that
that
easing
like?
into it
Did you guys-
for you to be out on your own, or easing to still be close for a
Just had a
month?
room available for a month.
yeah,
Like, just
there
go
was a
sleep
room. He's
over
like, just
for a
come
month.
fucking stay. And I'm like, yeah.
Did you guys wear matching pajamas at any point?
We didn't.
Big
maybe we
missed
did.
opportunity.
I don't know.
I imagine you guys. I imagine Paula
Pizza
coming back
parties? I was gonna
and seeing
say.
both of you with footy pajamas on, eating
I just want to
pizza.
say it's not as bad as Tim thought it was. Like
It wasn't
me having
as bad as I
over.
thought it would have been.
How long did it take for Paula to unroll her eyes? Because I imagine the amount of time she'd walk in the room with you clowns
I
doing
feel
something.
so.
Yeah.
I feel for Paula on such a level.
Paula?
Paula.
No, so I was at
Paula.
Kevin's for a month, and then I was at Curran's for over a year, and I paid $500 rent, which was
That's nice.
bro hookup. Okay, but again, network, like do that stuff. I had my own room, it was fucking awesome. I could have stayed there a lot
You
longer.
had access to a cute corgi.
And there was
Yeah.
a cute
Also
corgi.
awesome.
Yes, it was great. But then
lot of
after
poop
that,
bags on your car then.
Yeah, there was a lot of poop bags.
That was a weird
At a
time.
point though, I was like, all right, cool. Gia's moving back from Philly, so we need to like get a place. And we were looking into it, and everyone I talked to was like, "You're not getting a place for less than $2,600. You're just not. It's not going to happen." And I was like, "It's going to fucking happen."
Yeah,
And
that's real hard though.
it was real. But I was like, I'm committed
hustle?
to under 2,000, and I got it for 1,800.
Nice.
And it's just like, so
That's
I
huge.
pay 900, Gia pays 900. We are both able to do that, and it's like, okay, cool. But like, I don't know where these people are like 2,600. It's like, just fucking look. Just put some work
But it
in.
also
Like,
depends on
that
the
is-
quality of life that you want to live, right? Like I am a little older than you. I don't know that I'd want to live in a place that's less than the place that I have right now. In fact, I know that I wouldn't want that. I like the space we have. I like the neighborhood that we live in, and I like the fact that it's a little bit extra. Like, but you don't necessarily care about having a dining room. So
Well,
who
no,
cares?
it's more so that I'm trying to save
Yeah.
to then get a nicer place when it matters.
That's
to
a
me.
perfect, yeah. So that's
You
a
know?
perfect example of someone's like you're making a little bit of a sacrifice so that for your future, which is what people I think need to be good at if you
Yeah.
want to thrive in San Francisco. You have to be able to make those hard
And,
choices.
and real quick, that I mean, you say to make it work in San Francisco or whatever. That's just making it work in general, right? My friend Kyle, I remember, makes good money doing adult job things. You know what I mean? But lived so bare minimum for so long, just socking money away, so that when the time came and it did to buy a place, he was able to just poof,
Yep.
we're done. There you go.
You heard there was a couple
And
a long time
that's
ago.
in Missouri. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's you do that to make that thing happen.
I think that's what you got to do, unless you have incredibly wealthy parents who are going to hook you up.
Or
you
die
got to
soon.
just make those hard choices. There was a story about I think it was a couple who worked at Google. I want to say that were able to retire millionaires by the time they were 30, because they had like and they wrote a blog post about it, and they like had chronicled it, but it was like they live.
Fucking hate stories like that.
I know, but they lived very
Such
bare bones
bullshit.
to the point where I'm like, to me, that's not life. Like to me, eating
But now
canned
they're
tuna
retired.
what's that?
But now they're retired, you know?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, and that's a give and take, right? For me, I am at a point where I'd like to enjoy my life a little bit more because I'm almost 40, and that's just I'm like, I'm 40. Like, what am I going to do?
Getting awfully low, big guy.
Exactly, right? Like, I'm Italian. It's possible that I die by 60. It's not a third. 2/3 of my life might be over by now.
I hear you. No, that's the thing is like, and that was when Jen and I got married and we're looking. There was that conversation, right?
I remember we had that conversation. We were
me,
in
and Dee.
Vancouver. We talked about it.
And Jen, we're having this conversation of like, we love this apartment, which is our apartment now, but it's so much more than we want to pay. And it was just that thing of like, but yeah, it's awesome, and it's in an awesome part of town, and it's surrounded by those awesome amenities, and it's like, all right, cool, let's do that, and then there's going to be consequences, right? Of like, maybe it won't be as easy to buy a place one day. Maybe, that it's not rent controlled at all. Maybe it gets jacked up, and we have to worry about this and move again in a year, blah, blah, blah. And knock on wood, that hasn't happened yet. And, we, eventually we had that other room where we were just like, well, we're not using this room. We're paying a lot for it. So let's look at try to downsize, or do we want, and then Lucy needed a place to live. Like, oh, fuck, move in with us. And like, that's perfect. But, like.
And that's a sacrifice you guys made. And I'm sure Lucy is perfectly fine and it's not bad at all. But
She's very British.
You can't, oh God, so fucking British. But you all can't. That's going to limit what you guys can do in the apartment on any given time, right? That's just the way it's going to go, right? Like my wife and I, we don't love the apartment that we're in right now. It's falling apart, and they're doing construction all around us all the time, including Saturdays and Sundays, which you think is illegal, but it's not. Apparently, you can just come in at 8:30 on a Saturday and wake my fucking happy ass up with some banging and some sanding. It's not ideal, but that's a sacrifice that we're making because we are rent controlled. It is to Tim's point. Like our place, I think we paid $2,400,
which is utterly insane for the place you
so that's
live.
why we're not leaving. Like for the amount of space we have and be able to the places we're allowed to be able to walk, we're gonna stay in there for a very, very long time until we are at a place where the next logical step makes sense. But there's not a month that doesn't go by where me and my wife just think like, fuck it, let's just go. Like we're to Marin or someplace so far away where we can be quiet, where it's quiet and there's only old, like we want to live in a building that only old people are allowed to live in. No dogs, no pets, and we want to somehow get in there.
I mean, everyone has their own needs. Like my friend Curran just bought a house in Oakland, and I'm like, all right, cool, bye.
No, you're never seeing him again.
I'm never seeing you again.
Because they're going to have kids also, and that's going to be...
They already have dogs. The kids are coming eventually,
Right.
and it's just like, cool. Unless we have a scheduled once-a-month dinner, like, I'm not seeing you. I'm not going over there.
That's a totally different topic, but that's like a perfect... That just happens, dude. Like, I went to Eric's kid's birthday party, and it's the first time I've seen Eric in a long time, and I'd seen Brandon the week prior, and these are the guys that like are some of my best friends. These are guys that I spent all of my 20s with at IGN, and we just used to have the best times, and I barely see those guys. And we're like, hey, we should get a monthly thing on the books. No one's followed up. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're better at that.
I see Curran every week. Like we have a standing thing every Tuesday, and it's like, all right, I bet that becomes monthly, if even.
It's going to be harder, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, does he work in the city? He works in the city though.
Yeah.
So that's he can still manage.
I know,
it.
that's the thing.
It's
We'll
when
figure it
people
out,
have kids is when it becomes, and rightfully so, the priority has to shift over to the children, right? And I get it. And I see my friends with their kids, and I go,
a great
that makes
excuse.
sense, right?
Yeah.
Like your dad, if it's a matter of disappointing your
Daddy
two
Andy.
children or disappointing
Daddy
your friend.
Andy.
Hi, Daddy Andy.
Daddy Andy.
so fast.
Daddy Andy, back rub.
Suddenly it's a thing.
Back rub. Put me on your shoulder.
Daddy Andy, back rub.
Daddy, we're from Sweden. Would you like some toffee?
Oh, Daddy Andy.
This reminds me of one of my fucking favorite
what is
things that
wrong
happened at
with
E3 this week. Greg and I were doing our impressions of everything we played like day one in the hotel for Gamescast. And it was just the two of us.
Good videos, very good.
But how we were sitting, like, Greg looked
gosh.
like a hobbit.
Yeah, I loved it.
Like,
We
did you
watched
see
it. Yeah, we watched it.
But the best thing is we're going back and forth, and I don't even know how we got there. It's us. But at some point, Greg goes, what'd you do?
I was making fun of Kevin. I'm like, I'm so small. I look like Kevin compared to you. And I'm like, he loves it, whatever. Tim, get the cookies off the top shelf.
Please get me the cookies. It was just like the comments were like, all right, hey man, it's cool. I want to know a lot about these games you're playing, but the real question I have is like, why does Kevin speak in a British accent when he wants the cookies?
Kevin, I swear to God, if you bring a shotgun in, I'll get you the shells, brother. We are fucking monsters.
We deserve it.
I'm very proud that I always jump on shelves when I need to get something higher.
That's
I'm not
smart.
surprised.
That's
So did I.
smart.
I used to do that too.
No, but
how did we get to Daddy Andy?
I don't know.
Daddy.
Because I
Oh,
was saying,
kids.
you
I
know,
want some Daddy Andy fan art, please.
if you're getting to a point where
twang.
please lick the twang out of my hand, Daddy Andy. Put it on the popcorn.
Daddy Andy, be a pigeon.
If it's a matter of disappointing your two children or disappointing me, like I'd rather you disappoint me. Like you got to be a dad. You got to spend time with your family.
There's
That's
certain ages, though.
what happens.
Speaking of Daddy
well, no, once the
Andy.
kids hit 16 and you're not hanging out with me anymore, fuck you. Like
Speaking of
that
Daddy
means you just
Andy.
don't like me.
Yeah.
There's two different sort of tangents. One reminds me of Daddy Brian Altano. When we went to Gold
still
Farms,
trips me out that
we went
he's a
to,
dad.
We went to Gold Farms going away party.
Sure.
And I had just gotten there, and Barrett was outside smoking, and I get there, and Altano was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm headed out, dude. I got the kid," and he was like, "It's the perfect excuse to like just leave things early." I
Kid's
was
not
like,
even
"Oh,
in
you
town."
fucker, you're so lucky." Yeah. Anyway, and the other Daddy Andy thing that I want to bring up, huh?
Daddy Andy.
You don't even need an excuse. You've gotten to the point where you're just like, yeah, I'm not gonna go.
You're the most
Oh, yeah.
adult I've ever met.
You're a
I just
bitch.
don't want to get. I just don't
You
wanna
bitch
go.
out on me
He's the
so
most
much.
Adult.
Dude, in the case of like what he wants to do or not do, yeah, he'll just be like,
You
I
can't
don't wanna
pressure
do
Andy
it.
into something.
He's the
I
only
literally
person
said,
who
I was like, Andy, do you want to come to my comedy show? You know what he said?
No.
Nah.
I love it.
No excuse
I love
whatsoever.
it.
Just straight
So-
up. Nah. I can't argue with that.
So
You're right.
I posted.
I don't wanna go either.
I posted that they announced Link's Awakening, right, and that they were gonna release a new amiibo, and so I put on Instagram, guys, big news. Then you click the next story and it says, "I'm gonna be a father." The next story is the Link amiibo, to which I titled like, "I can't wait to meet the little fella in September" or something like that. This stupid post or whatever. And on the second post of like, "I'm gonna be a father," Troy Baker responded to me. He was like, "Dude, congrats!" And I was like, "Ah, no! Like you're the last person I'd want to let down and fuck
No.
up." with
You
this
know
shit."
what? Troy deserves it.
Why?
It's fine.
You fucked
'Cause
up
he
your-
fucked
you
me
fucked up
on
your
your anniversary video. That's why.
oh, that's right. That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So Troy gets it.
Not to fuck you too.
Troy's like obviously an angel on earth before the kid. And now that he's had Traveler, right? Like I ran into them at the Ghostbusters Fan Fest in LA right after EA played before I flew home. And it was the thing of just, you know how busy Troy is and how busy we all are. But like I had finished the panel I was hosting for the Ghostbusters video game, was walking to get my bags and leave, and it was a video message from Troy, and I clicked on, and he's just like, "Hey man, hope E3's going well. Don't want to rub it in, but look where and I'm like, text back like, "I'm there." Like, where are you? Like, and we met up, and he had Traveler, and we were hanging out and talking or whatever, and he was just like,
Such a cool name.
"Bro, you're gonna be the best. You gotta be a dad,
Dude,
You gotta
being
be
dad's the best,
dad.
dude.
Exactly, changed everything."
Anyway, I got
and he's
some
like
Legos
even more
for you.
angelic now. You know what I mean?
That's what they tell you. All my friends want. Oh, you should have a kid, man. You should have a kid. And there's a part of my brain, and in the back of my brain, I'm thinking they all go back and they scheme about like misery loves company. Like we're gonna get Nick one day to be in this horrible situation with us. This terrible situation. This is terrible, terrible life
We're
we've
not
carved out for
sleeping,
ourselves.
we're not-
I haven't slept in 17 years.
I feel that shit.
I know.
Oh yeah, well that's a different situation though.
You're marrying
Yeah.
that one though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. It's fucking kids though.
Kids are rough. You gotta really want them. I'll tell you that. But to all my friends' credit, the ones that have had kids, I'm like, you should have kids. You guys are awesome dads, and that's great. I'm an awesome uncle.
You're an
already,
awesome
though.
uncle, yeah.
I've already got videos from
Stogie.
the last present that I sent of just Eric's kid just terrorizing their household with that little projectile gun thing that I bought him.
I don't know, but you cool.
It's cool.
Is it like an
the
Iron
Toy
Man?
Story thing, right?
It's a Buzz Lightyear like blaster, but it blasts out
Oh.
discs. You know, like
Nice.
there was
Oh, I
always
remember
toys where it
this.
was either Nerf or disc.
Yeah.
You hit it and it was
Discs are cool.
Discs, and he's just fucking people up. He's murking his mom and dad with that thing.
Nice.
And it's fun.
Yeah, did
And
you
it's
see
real
when
fun.
Chobot and Blair's son got the fart gun?
No.
And then it was like the next 4 days of Instagram posts from them were the fart gun being like him shooting Emerson running around shooting them with the
Yeah.
fart gun because it just makes it's like
Oh, just noises. Oh, okay.
yeah. And they're like there was finally like on the 5th day. Just sitting there and him like shooting her point blank in the back. And then I text her, I'm like, "How much you love that fart gun right now?" And she's like, "It's a nice."
It's not like it.
You know what I mean?
That's part of the fun, though. Like,
course.
I don't know. Like their family, Jesus. I'm sure every family is not without its intricacies, but man, they're a nice looking family. Like it just looks like they're like a perfect family.
Yeah.
When you see Blair, they're always like happy. Granted,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're taking pictures when they're happy. I'm sure there are moments where people argue and there's hardships.
I mean, I
but
can't imagine Blair ever being unhappy because he Instagram videos while he runs, and it's just him smiling at the camera. I'm
That
like, you
motherfucker.
fuckface, get
He's
out of
also
here.
he's just like
Too
ridiculously
handsome.
good looking.
Too handsome.
I've said that about him.
Yeah.
And you see him and you're like, cool, at least he's short. Then he shows up 6'2".
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Andy? When you see a guy, you're like, maybe
Dude,
he's short.
don't I know
You
it,
hold
dude.
out for it, you're like, maybe
Don't
he's
I
fucking
know it,
short.
dude.
And then
Don't
you
I
see
know
him
it.
and you're like, God damn it, why are you above 6 feet? It's
Good
bullshit.
lord, yeah. I just I
Troy's like 19 feet
just
tall.
got
It's
back on
fucking
Tinder.
annoying.
Just got back on Tinder.
Dude, let's do that on
And Tinder is
KFAF.
just
Oh, God.
Tinder is just reminding me. Being on Tinder is reminding me that
whoa, what?
I mean nothing's happened yet, right?
Let's look at the profile. What's
just-
your joke? What's your
Do you have
little
a
joke
dog?
you buy?
Do you have a jog in your
What's-
profile?
I have nothing really like.
You gotta have a
special
dog.
at all.
Show me your profile. I won't vote on anybody.
You need a black Pomeranian and you need to hold it and dress like it in your profile picture.
yes.
And then do the face swap on Snapchat. So you swap faces with the Pomeranian.
Oh, I
Well,
could do
it'll,
that. Yeah.
it'll be the same.
Yeah,
Same
oh,
picture,
What is
you're
my
right.
profile? Let's see here.
What's it say?
Edit info.
Just a guy playing
just
some
a
Apex
dude,
Legends.
yeah.
I do nerdy stuff video game on YouTube for a living.
You're not getting laid. with that.
And
Jesus, even Kevin didn't like
I
that
don't
one.
use Tinder, but I use Reddit, and I subscribe to the Tinder like thing because they have like the funny conversations and then funny
Oh, yes.
profiles. You need to be. You're very funny.
Sure, I just started. Guys, relax, all right?
Ever
Here's what
had
you put.
fucking
Relax.
Ever had popcorn with a pickle? That's what you put in there.
Sure, okay.
You bring the
So
popcorn,
anyway,
I'll bring the pickle.
Tinder's making me realize that, like, Jesus Christ, like, I have to be fucking 6'4" to be on this website.
I could never exist. I'm so lucky.
It's not that every woman on Tinder is too tall. I'm just too short. Like, that's just the reality.
No,
of it, dude.
I hear this
Every
all the
woman's
time.
like 5'11" on this fucking app.
I hear this,
5'8".
5'7" on a good day, 5'8"
Okay.
in heels.
and I tell you, man, I'm glad I'm married because I'd have to lie about my height. I'd have to be like I'm 6.
You have to put your
sometimes.
height?
No, but women like want tall guys.
There was a funny April Fool's gag that Tinder was doing that was like on we were in God, what convention did we go to for the meet and greet?
Kansas City.
Yeah, I think it was
Comic-Con.
Kansas City. Yeah,
That was fun.
because that was around April Fool's, I believe.
Sure.
And a couple days before, they put out a post, the Twitter account that was like, "Hey, we're introducing this new thing where height is going to be a requirement for men on this website."
Oh,
and everybody
Jesus.
was like, "Oh, like your lives are over now. Like this shit is not going to work out for
But
you
like,
guys."
I've never understood that though. Like I've never understood guys that try to hide it or lie about it. Like
Don't lie.
you can't. At a certain point, people are gonna see it.
Just don't lie.
They're gonna see it, right? Like you can't say that you're 2 or 3 inches taller than you are. It's just not gonna be. Kevin, I don't. But thank you for cramming that joke into your little honey hole that you got down there.
Honey hole. I
the
started
pink
playing.
oozes?
I started getting back on the basketball court recently, and oh my god, I am so out of shape. Like I
Used to
can't.
be
Like
outside of
obviously,
school?
I'm
Is that
so.
why
out
I
of-
almost beat you at the streamies?
No, yeah, you
You dominated in that.
on the
I was
ep-
very proud of you.
On the
Andy.
episode of KFF, he made mention that like
How many times do you think I
Oh
had
my
to
gosh.
reshoot shots just to stay in the game long enough to make a 10-minute long episode?
the amount of times that
I should
he'd
do a
be-
super
he'd be
count
like,
for
all right,
next
I'm
week."
gonna shoot. Yeah. People were asking for that.
I should do a
They were
super
like,
cut.
dude, I really want to see of all the times that like Nick missed a shot where he'd be like, all right, let me go one more time, and like, all right, one more time.
Well, I could have got yeah.
Anyway,
Basketball, not my game. Let's put it that way.
Anyway,
How well do you think you do at basketball right now if you had to?
Not well.
Yeah.
Better than you.
How fucking
Whoa.
dare you?
Wow.
I mean, I haven't shot a basketball in years.
Challenge
look, here's what
accepted.
happened.
Kevin, get the really long XLR cable. We're taking this podcast on the
We were
road.
talking about it on I was during one of my streams, and somebody in chat was like, "Look, you and Nick was funny or whatever. I want to see." Tim from the Mizzou video against Nick from KFAN.
God, I love that
both
gif.
of those shots were so
Here's
terrible.
what I'm telling you right now.
That shit was on a.
First off, that
The
was
first
amazing.
shot that Nick did didn't even like.
It looks like a spring broke. You know what I mean?
It looked like it was on purpose.
You went to fire the Nerf gun and the spring broke halfway through and just fell
It
out of the
was
tip.
so bad. I can't believe that it traveled like halfway of the distance that you wanted.
I legitimately got scared. I was like, "Oh, this is not gonna go well. This is not gonna."
Here's why it cannot be me versus Tim because the game will go on forever. It has to be timed. It can't be a
You have to
horse.
play
What's it?
cow.
Yeah, we'll just play cow.
Yeah, we used to play cow back in the day.
Cow?
For a quick game of
COW.
horse.
I still think it would go on for an hour and a half.
We'll just play T. You know what I mean? I don't
Play
know.
first one to a goal wins, to a basket wins. How about that?
So I went to I found this court recently near my place. It's like pretty neat. And I went there while it was really hot, right, during our little heat wave. And then I went again on Saturday, this past Saturday. But when I go, there's like nobody really out there. There's some people playing tennis nearby. So I'm just shooting around. I'm just like kind of running to go get my own shots, trying to get a little bit of a workout in. And I went on Saturday, and there's this whole group of dudes playing like a pickup game. And they're a little bit older. I'd say they're like upper 30s, maybe some of them lower 40s. But they play every Saturday, and they play against each other, so they're in better shape than I am, right?
Anybody dunking?
No, there's no.
Any fadeaway dunks?
No fadeaway dunks, no. Did you hear about it? Yeah, this was something he brought up on Internet Explorers. A fadeaway dunk. It became
I love it.
a nice little joke. No fadeaway dunks here. But they'd finished the game. They're like, "Oh, you want in?" I was like, "Yeah,
Fucking
sure."
shake your head at me, you monster.
So I joined in on this game, and the first game, pretty good, right? We go to 11. I think I had like 6 points.
Wow.
We're killing it, right? And then by this point, like my stamina is slow, my endurance is going down.
Yeah.
I'm fucking exhausted by the time the second game comes around. The second game, these games are up to 11. You have to win by 2 points.
Did you think about faking a hammy injury?
No, but we go up
handball.
10-2. And I had like, I think 5 points or some shit like that. So it's 10-2, we're killing it, but I'm starting to get really fucking gassed. The other team starts coming back, and they play with each other a lot. They know each other's names.
Sure.
And they start making jokes that like, well, he's gas, so I'm just gonna keep going at him. And like these guys are like my height, but they're bigger, and they're like backing me down. Like, fuck, it's so exhausting to try to stop you from getting towards a basket. By the time you know it, it's fucking 10-10. It's a tie game. I'm like, oh
You're
my
the
god.
weak link, and they've just been slamming
Yeah, for sure. And like
the jamming.
they pass it out to a 3-point line, and like this tall dude named Todd is like, Andy, go guard that, Andy. And I was like, fuck, it's so tired. I'm so exhausted. I tripped 1 point, and getting up was so hard because I was so tired. We ended up losing 13-11. And as they're walking off the court, Todd tells the other guy on the other team, yo, good game, man. Y'all beat us 2v3. And I was like, Todd, I'm fucking tired, dude. Like, I can't believe Todd did me this way, man.
Yeah,
So I never want to go back. Cool Greg's looking at me like Cool Greg would have backed me up here.
Fuck Todd.
Yeah, fuck Todd, exactly. But I'm
That was a bitch.
I'm so tired at this point that I just like I can't even argue back. And I get it. I was the weak link for sure.
It sucks when because you want to be like fuck you and find, and but you're like,
I'm gonna
nah,
fight
just
you,
out
but
of
I'm
shape.
dead.
Yeah, I was like,
Balls.
one day I'll be back in shape in a couple of weeks.
You should get back in shape. You should like drill
So the
hard
next
for
time
the
they
next
see
like
me-
2 months, and then just
like, oh,
fuck
shit.
them up.
Yeah. But it was one of those games
Be like
where like
Superman at the end of Superman.
I was
because
missing a lot of shots
You know what I
that
mean?
were just like doing that fucking bullshit on the hard ass double rim. The fuck.
What is
outta
a
here.
double rim? Those people. That's
Double
what
rim,
people
you
are
see them
saying.
a lot outdoors on outdoor parks. It's more for durability because sometimes people try to dunk or
And sling,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Fade
it's basically like two rims that are on top of each other and they're sturdier.
And what is the disadvantage of that? For
the disadvantage?
shooting?
It's harder.
There's
like,
more shit for it to bounce off.
Yeah,
Oh, I
like
see,
and a lot of
okay.
times they're screwed in fucking hella hard into the backboard,
So it doesn't give you
so
any,
like
like-
a super like weak ass layup will just bounce 14 times and then like pop out.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just double
didn't
rims
know
are
that
a bitch to
regulation.
play on. They're not good to play on.
Didn't know that.
But yeah, I saw people commenting like,
yeah, people say, "Oh,
you
the
were
double
playing
rim
with double
also
rims, bro." I was
terrible.
like, yeah, it sucks. But guess what? It didn't suck for me. 'Cause
Tell
I
you
was
one thing
still
right now.
getting
You
them.
could have been playing with one hand literally tied behind your back. It wouldn't have mattered. You would have beat me pretty squarely on that.
was really bad.
I have not felt that out of place in a very long time. Where I was like, oh, this is good. And to the point where I was like, I missed that first shot, and the first thing that went through my mind was I was like, fuck. Why is Kevin shooting this? Why is Kevin the what? Because you just hear it. It's like a time delay. And I'm like, and I see it, and I'm like, it's not even gonna hit the rim. And as it's coming down, I hear.
No. Bullshit. I did not laugh the first time because I was like, oh my god, he is going to do terribly. I
It's
am
like the
not going
hottest
to
day.
fucking
We're out on the tarmac. Kevin's sweating, and he's like, "How fucking long is this game gonna go?"
You guys, that was the most physically demanding shoot
It was
I've
tough.
ever
It
done.
was tough.
Because it was fucking 85 degrees.
Yeah, no, I
I-
think it was 90 by this point
Well,
while we were shooting.
I
And
had
Kevin, his sweat was fogging up the
viewfinder.
That was the only way I could
God, it
shoot
was
because
so
it was
good.
so bright
He was like,
outside.
I don't know if I'm focused right now because I can't see. It's so
I was
foggy.
like, "Don't just go. We'll just have fun."
No, you kept saying like, oh, just check this and check that. I'm like, Nick, I can't see it.
It looked fine. You did a good job.
Yeah,
Good job,
It worked
Kev.
out well.
Cougar, I got to get you out there in the courts, man. Because here's the thing. When they all popped up there, they're like, oh, yeah, we do this thing where you bring a friend. Like, you always bring a friend out here to play 4v4 or whatever. And I was like, well, I don't have friends. You know, like
I got family.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have anybody who would want to go play hoops with me except for Cool Greg. And it's at that one port. Remember, it's the court that I thought it was called.
We all looked over there. Yeah,
It's the court that I thought was called Rosa Parks. Remember that one?
Rossi.
Yeah, Rossi.
Rossi Park, yeah. Unrelated.
Unrelated.
Hot news in for you, Andy.
What?
I hit up Gia. I was like, hey, you spend a lot of time with your girls on Tinder. What are the do's and don'ts
Here we go.
for Andy Cortez?
Oh, God.
No sexual innuendos before you meet in person.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's not an Andy
That's
thing,
during
though.
the
I mean,
message stage.
who knows if I even meet these people in person?
Well, yeah. One day. Don't
big is
swipe
your
on
radius?
every girl just to see who swipes on you.
Why
Wait,
not?
All
what?
guys seem to do this.
Why
Don't
not?
do the swiping on everybody thing. Be more
yeah. Be
targeted
selective.
with it. Yeah. Always comment on something specific about the lady's profile, like a cute dog, or I like hang gliding too. Don't know what the fuck that
Please
came
comment
from.
that on every one of them, regardless of whether there's a hang
Say you
gliding
like
picture.
hiking.
Also, if anyone's into hang gliding, you're a psychopath.
Dude,
I'm not dating you.
Okay, keep going.
And now here's the profile stuff. No shirtless pics.
Well, that's not going to be a
Shit.
problem.
Yeah, right. No group pics. And that's a key one that a lot of dumb fuckers mess up all the time. They have group pics of who are you? And you also don't want anyone to compare and be like, oh, I wish it was that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not taking pictures with Ty and putting those fucking pictures on my
You got to keep your
Tinder
profile
thread.
language very positive. Stay positive. Definitely have at least 4 pics.
Yeah, I only have 2 so far.
You know, here's
step
what
it
we're going to
up.
do, Andy. We're going to do this as a bit on KFAF.
Oh,
we're going
yeah.
to make your Tinder profile.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do that. And I think we should do it with, here's my pitch for you. 4 pictures. You're in the exact same pose, just different clothes, different background, but same thing. We just composite them in. This would be really fun.
It's going to be fun for you.
Well, come on.
There we got. So this is where it gets weird, but I know this was based on a real story. But no pics with a tiger or other safari animal. So keep it domestic here. You know
What
what
does
I
that
mean?
mean?
That sounds like it'd be
Don't
cool.
mention your height. All guys do that. It's weird. And finally, no pics with girls.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so I wanted, like, as I'm looking through this, it's like, Jesus Christ, I need a Tinder for people who aren't fucking wanderlusts that love hiking and shit. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, I'm not into
They're all
any of this
bullshit.
shit.
They're all bullshitting. Anyone that likes
we
hiking
need
is
to
not
make a new shirt. Andy Cortez doesn't like hiking.
I'll use the Tinder.
You got to figure out how to make that shirt successful because we did not figure out how to do it the
That's a
first time
great
around
shirt,
with
though.
Sean
But
Finnegan.
selling it on avocado green might have been our first
Hey
mistake.
man, you are desperate for color on the store. You got it.
I have
Cost
like,
you
my
$1,300.
entire closet is black shirts, and I love them all. Kindoffunny.com/store. Go buy them. Cool Greg is the night shirt is the jam.
It is. I love that shirt.
I don't know. I feel like I keep looking at you. I'm like, are we finishing the podcast up, or can we keep talking shit about Andy's Tinder profile?
we can keep talking for sure. Why not though? Before we talk a little bit more, a word from our sponsor. Let's talk about our sponsors. The Kind of Funny podcast is brought to you by Movement. You shouldn't have to choose between overpriced designer sunglasses and cheap shades that won't last you all summer. That's why we never wear anything other than Movement. MVMT. You know this. You see it. They got sunglasses. They got watches. Well, we've been using Movement for a long time, ever since they sponsored us. And you know that when I travel, my black sunglasses are, in fact, my Movement sunglasses. I love them. Tim loves them. Nick loves the watches. Kevin loves the watches. Everybody's having a good time. Constructed with durable, acetate? What's that? And light acetate? And lightweight materials for that perfect, reliable fit. You don't have to choose between style and function. You get both with Movement. Pick a style or design, and guess what? They got it there for you. You go there to the Movement, you find it, and you get going. Movement sunglasses start at $60, and no pair price is more than $95. So you're guaranteed to find a style you love and a quality that doesn't break the bank. They've sold over 2.5 million products across 160 countries, and their collections are always expanding. Get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movement.com/kinda. That is MVMT.com/kinda. See why Movement keeps growing. Check out the expanding collection. Go to movement.com/kinda. Join the Movement and be like your good pal Greg Miller when he wears sunglasses out with his wife and has a good day. Up next, it's Robinhood. Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free. While the brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade, Robinhood doesn't charge any commission fees, and you can trade stocks so you can keep all your profits. Plus, there is no account minimum deposit needed to get started. You can start investing at any level. The simple, intuitive design of Robinhood makes investing easy for newcomers and experts alike. View easy-to-understand charts and market data, and place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone. You can also view stock collections such as 100 most popular. With Robinhood, you can learn how to invest in the market as you build your portfolio. Discover new stocks, track your favorite companies, and get custom notifications for price movements so you never miss the right moment to invest. Robinhood is giving listeners of the Kinda Funny podcast a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. Sign up at greggy.robinhood.com. That's greggy.robinhood.com. It's way late. Kevin, this includes the pre-show, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
We're gonna come back and from the ad and be like, all right, thanks for watching.
We can always just plug it in there.
Kevin can do what he wants with it.
We don't always have to
do what he
bump to
wants.
the ad. We could always just plug it in.
I know, well, you know, I
Plug it in,
gave the
plug it in.
option. I like to give
Plug
the
it
option.
in, plug it
Glade,
in.
Glade.
I've been doing this thing at night where it's like, dude, my fucking weekend routine of sleeping was so fucked up. I was staying up so late, and I have been staying up so late. And here's what I've been doing tonight, guys.
What have you been doing, Big
Lights
Cat?
are off.
What have you been doing to
I have the
yourself at
YouTube
night?
app on.
Yeah.
I have the YouTube app on.
How many tissues we got?
I've just been watching
You think you just rub it on the
fucking
carpet?
ray tracing RTX videos.
Okay.
That's all I've been doing.
Ray tracing
Digital
RTX?
Foundry has been like
killing the game.
killing the
As
game.
always.
Digital
I know
Foundry's
what
fantastic.
ray tracing is. What about RTX?
RTX is like
a show we go to.
Graphics
the
card.
Graphics card.
The NVIDIA.
Oh, you're
graphics
thinking of a
card.
Radeon card. Radeon.
No.
RTX
AMD.
2080, right? Or-
RTX 2080, yeah.
Intel,
And so
Intel.
what
What
I've
do
been
they
doing
do?
is like, so Digital Foundry has been doing this thing where they will show old games with this sort of newer lighting technology called ray tracing.
Oh, cool.
And so like, because people have been modding this stuff into older games, so they have like, hey, here's Minecraft with ray tracing on. It's like, holy fuck, this is the future. They showed Quake 2 with ray tracing, Doom 1.
Someone just did that with a movie. I think it was Corridor Digital just did that with a movie where they went back and they like reanimate or did. Oh, maybe it was the prequels for Star Wars where they went back and actually re-put in.
Somebody else did that, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
it was-
I want to say it was Corridor or
Episode
like
4, right?
was it?
Where they redid the fight between
Vader and
Oh,
Obi.
with actual like reflecting lightsabers. Yeah. And yeah, Corridor Digital crew has been also killing it. I've really been digging their videos
The
where
breakdowns of everything.
where they react to CGI.
Well, I guess because I don't know Corridor. I haven't followed them in a long time, but I guess they have a whole like actual VFX where they market their VFX like abilities and like sell that as a thing. I guess they do
Yeah.
VFX for stuff, so they'll do breakdowns on stuff.
Yeah, but
which is supposed to be pretty cool.
what's been really cool is like these main three dudes who are kind of like their cast members or whatever. They are artists on the Corridor crew.
Ren.
Huh?
Ren? You know Ren?
I don't know
W-R-E-N?
I don't. Who's that?
Go
He's
get
one of
Ren.
the guys.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So then because they also mention like Freddie Wong and shit like that. Like they'll
Yeah.
mention that quite a bit. But they've been doing these videos. I think you'd really like them, Nick, where they break down, they react to CGI from
That's what it was.
everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they,
that's what it
they
is.
like
That's
terrible
cool.
CGI in the past couple of years of like, oh, here's Sonic. Like, wow, well, like what's weird about Sonic is that, you know, the green on the grass is as green as a green can get, but his eyes are so fucking saturated green that it just doesn't match. That's why this looks off. Why does the Black
interesting.
Panther fight look so terrible at the end of Black Panther between
Yeah.
Killmonger and Black Panther?
Yeah.
But then they also talk about good CG.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
in the same,
that's
like,
cool.
like recently they did, I think what you're talking about is the prequels, and they break it down, and they're
Yeah.
looking at like episode 1. They're like, here's good CG in episode 1. Here's bad CG.
Yeah.
And here's why and whatever. Cool
Yeah,
stuff.
it's really really cool, and yeah, it's one of those things where they are able to break down why things don't feel right. You know, you watch CG, you're like, something about this is off, right?
Yeah.
And they'll look at Thanos and be like, that's the best CGI I've ever seen in my life, but. And they'll look like, oh, look, his wrinkles on his, he has peach fuzz. Holy shit, they're like breaking down really well. It's one of my favorite
That's
things that I've
cool.
been watching recently. They've done like maybe 4 or 5 episodes. But yeah, the other thing is just like this new ray tracing technology that isn't necessarily new, but like Pixar's been using it in the last like 10 years or so. But for games, it's finally becoming prevalent in games now.
What
where-
is? I mean, if you can explain it, because when I used to dabble in like Cinema 4D
Yeah.
and do motion graphic stuff, I always wanted. Like, it's such a steep learning curve that I never got around to it, but they would always allow you to render with an extra like module that was ray tracing. And every time I would be like, cool, I'm going to do that. And I would go and I would hit render and it'd be like estimated time 10 hours for like
Yeah.
one frame. And I'm like, nope, not
Yeah.
going to fuck with ray tracing.
So ray tracing is when you have realistic lighting. Because I watched another video from Linus, Kevin,
Yep.
Tech
who
tips.
was kind of, it wasn't that channel, but it was still Linus like narrating or whatever, and he's like, so here's what ray tracing is. Look at a point on a wall, and then follow that point back to a light. essentially the light is bouncing off millions of places, and that's just what creates this sort of realistic lighting. And it's so mathematic and it's so fucking difficult to do. But the next wave in gaming is ray tracing. Because it's not all just set and baked lights.
Right. It's actual
it's
that's gonna be cool.
It's just like the future where there's a moment where they were talking about in the Halo Infinite trailer where the guy on the back, the guy that was climbing the thing to try to, the E3 demo where he falls down and there's a thing spinning around and spinning like. You see the light reacting to all the shit, and it's all like real time stuff that's happening.
Cool.
But it's just so fucking interesting. I've been like addicted to learning about it and just seeing how old games look with ray tracing, and it's really fascinating.
I love that shit.
Really
I used to
cool.
do that shit with like After Effects tutorials where I'd be like, how do they do this one thing? And then I just watch the most dry, boring 35-minute long
pilot.
video. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, yeah.
But like Andrew Kramer or
Digital
there's another guy named
tutors.
Andrew Rabinowitz over on creativecow.net. I'm like, these guys are awesome.
Yeah.
But
that was
yeah,
me
it's
back
fun.
in the day with 3D art, like Victor Omen, who works for, I forgot where the fuck he worked. And today in ZBrush, we will be learning, it's always like super strong
Well,
action.
you
It's
showed me
great.
some shit last week on in Photoshop that blew my damn mind. It's like the most basic stuff in Photoshop, and I'm like, wow.
I've been telling you
I
to
don't
do it
know
forever.
So like my approach to using those tools is came from After Effects first. So any knowledge that I had of like it was After Effects then Illustrator because Illustrator can make vector stuff and that's what's necessary for After Effects. And then Photoshop was always the third thing that I needed to use. So it's the last thing that I ever learned. And so my knowledge of Photoshop is so pedestrian that it's almost laughable after having used that tool set for like 12 or 15 years. Like compared to what I know about After
for
Effects, it's like
sure.
ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you
yeah.
see somebody who knows what they're doing, like Andy in Photoshop, use Photoshop. It's incredible.
It's
like I'm in there
like a
like
different
fucking
language.
slamming rocks together to try to make a thumbnail be at anything, and I'll be like, Andy, come do that, and he comes in, just doing all these different things, using brushes, putting all
Blend
sorts
That's
of-
how I
modes.
feel about you with After Effects. Like I just like.
Well,
I
After Effects
can't
is different though
grasp-
because it doesn't make it's not it has like it's so fundamentally different than Photoshop. Like on a different level. But yeah, but some of the stuff you showed me, I was like, yeah, that makes so much sense. Like that's a really handy tool to be able to group shit. Like I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could add effects to like folders. I had no fucking idea you could do that. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just cool shit like that. I don't know.
Yeah, folders and mask. I've always been about masks, like non-destructive. You put a mask on something, you're not
Well, that's-
erasing the pixels from that image.
That's
you're
always-
just masking them out.
That's why I used to do like, so when we did original, like a lot of stuff we did like back in the day for Kind of Funny where we do headshots or things like that. I used to mask things out. I'd drag it into After Effects because After Effects, you can do masks. Everything's non-destructive, which is great. But that's why I always shied away from Photoshop is because how many times would I make something in Photoshop and be like, oh, I fucked something up, but I can't undo that far. It's too far back to undo.
Yeah. You can keep it like rasterized, or you can keep it a smart object or whatever.
Yeah, it's still limited though. We're getting real technical now with this Photoshop discussion. This went from gentrification to like Photoshop tips. That'd be a funny one to
Daddy
headline.
Andy.
Welcome
Daddy
to
Andy is my favorite
Daddy
fucking
Andy.
thing.
I don't like it.
I love it. Oh my god.
I don't know why.
But
it's
every once in a
exciting.
while,
Call
like
yourself Daddy Andy on Tinder.
yeah, Daddy Andy. Well, we'll do that on Wednesday on KFAF.
There you
go. Yeah, but every once in a while I go down that rabbit hole when I have to like dig into a project. Like recently, I had to go back into After Effects to make like the We Have Cool Friends stuff. And I'm like, fuck, I love this so much, but it's
You're
just
so
not.
good at it, man.
It's just not beneficial for me to like invest more time of
Yeah.
my life in that because I think I hit a certain point with After Effects where I was like, this is awesome, and then my life segued over to just being like more on camera and just doing more like just shooting and making sure shit gets done from like a raw production standpoint. That iterating farther past that and having to be more polished, I just never got to that place.
That's why
So
I'm
I-
so glad that you were tasked with doing the slight animations for the Gamecast intro.
Yeah.
Because as somebody who made the Gamecast animation years ago, and then Tim being like, "Hey, we're gonna add a Jared."
yeah.
I was like, I can draw Jared, but fuck if I remember how to
and then
animate in this
Andrea,
goddamn
and then Fran,
program.
and-
Dude, well, that's a different level. Like animating in Flash or whatever Adobe product you were using for that.
It was
where-
it was Flash at the time. Now it's
That
called like
shit,
animation.
I used
or
to open
whatever
that
the fuck.
stuff up when we were doing the animated show because that's how Dagan would actually like he'd give me those files and I'd open it up. I'm like, I'll just clearly I know how to animate stuff. I'll open this up and change this. No, it doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense to me.
Yeah,
the
that's-
UI is fucking. It's Latin.
That's why the animation on them, it's like it's not drawn keyframes. It's like I gave you Andrea, and it's her body with her
Yeah,
arm, and you
perfect.
moved the arm or whatever.
That's easy
But back
for
in
me
the
to
day,
do.
I would have like drawn that in with like a
Squash and
a
stretch.
smear or
yeah,
some shit.
exactly.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's weird.
That's weird to me. All that stuff's fun though.
Daddy Andy's
Daddy
smear.
Andy.
Daddy Andy, back rub.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny podcast. Each and every week, 4 best friends gather on this table, each coming to talk about what's happening in their lives. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindoffunny, where you can get the show ad-free, early, and with the pre and post show. We're about to film the post show, talk to the chat, do all that.
And I know I absolutely got a lot of ray tracing information wrong, so forgive me, comments.
No, put them in the comments. We'll learn. That's fine.
Cool. Okay.
Just yell at Andy in the comments. It's fun. You don't want to toss any bucks our way. It's no big deal. Each and every Friday, it posts as a big old video and podcast on kindoffunny.com, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe. We're going to jump into that post show. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.